Let's do this. Hi, everybody. How are you? Oh, I got paint on my shoulder. That's fun. Hi, my name is Luke Thomas. It is still technically for 5 more minutes, the 16th of November, 2024, and this will be our UFC 309 watch-along for the co-main and main events. And then, of course, we're going to transition right into our post-fight show, which, if you joined me last night for Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, we did not have a very long post-fight show. We'll have a good post-fight show today. We'll have a nice good one here. A nice good one. Does that even sound like somebody who reads books? I don't think so. We'll have a good post-fight show. Just the same. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thumbs up on the video. Hit subscribe. Really appreciate you guys so much. Last night's stream ended up being a lot of fun, sort of, kind of. There's a lot of fun to it. A lot of frustration with Netflix, and it turned out that it wasn't my signal. It was Netflix who acknowledged the problem on social media. Everything looks smoothly on my end today. Everything's working great. Knock on wood. I hope it all goes well. But I really appreciate you guys joining me. As you know, all live programming on this channel is brought to you by our friends over at toolatrees.com. You can use the code LT15 for 15% off. That's on top of a Black Friday sale that they're having this week, which I think expires tomorrow. They'll probably bring it back for Thanksgiving, but so you can get 40% off plus this, plus the 15% off. So up to 55% off your orders. And, what do I like? I like the sheer boys and girls, or I should say boys. I mean, yeah, there's probably like 2 women watching. This is not for you, but maybe you could get it for your husband. This thing is waterproof. This thing has 7,000 RPM motor, ceramic blade. It's rechargeable with, by the way, USB-C. So you can charge your iPhone 15 Plus with this. LED spotlight, trim guards, and travel lock. The whole 9 freaking yards. So thanks to our friends over at Toolatrees. Let me let everyone know that I am live now over on the Twitters, and then we'll get this going. All right, here we go. Let's see. Going live now. Join me. There we are. All right, we sent that out. Boom. Okay. So here we are. Bo Nickal just fought Paul Craig. I got a lot of thoughts about that, but I'm going to save it for the post-fight show. I think there's a lot to like. There's a lot to dislike about that as well. It's kind of it was not the performance that I expected. And I think some things from that I really thought were pretty good for him. And then there were some things about that performance that I thought were not great for him, but surprising, I think, in a couple of different directions. So we'll talk about that in the post-fight show. All right. How are you guys doing? Did you have a good day? I didn't do much today. I took Tuki for a long bike ride. That's my daughter. That's not her name, but that's what we call her. And then took her to the park. I got recognized at the park by a nice guy. His name was Gilbert. Gilbert was nice. If Gilbert's watching, shouts to you, Gilbert. You're a very friendly guy. And then I came back home and took a nap, and here we are. I didn't do much. My wife took Tuki to a bunch of stuff after that. So that's it. I didn't have much of a day. We're back here ready to get this going. So it should be fun. Yeah? All right, let's take this off. And yeah, that Paul Tyson stuff yesterday was incredibly frustrating, incredibly weird. Co-main event was great. We'll have a lot to say on Morning Combat about it. BC hated it. He hated it. I was like, I didn't hate it as much as he hated it. But all right, here comes Michael Chandler and Charles Oliveira, your co-main event. How will we say the card is doing? Well, there's definitely been, at least early on, there was more knockouts. I don't think it's been a bad card. I just don't know if it's been like an amazing card. By Trump rally standards, it's been a pretty good fight card. I don't know how traditionally good the fights are on his rallies, but did I say Trump rally? I meant UFC event. They're impossible to tell apart at this point, but nevertheless, you get the idea. All right. Here comes Michael Chandler with the American flag. For folks who know flag etiquette, you're never supposed to do that, but people don't care about that. So there you go. First time in 2 years we're seeing this guy? Long time. All right. And I also might be a little bit under the weather. I'm not entirely sure just yet. I guess we'll have to see. But I'm happy to be here, excited to be here. And I think more than that, grateful to be here. Grateful for all of you and so much more. By the way, speaking of which, let's get some of this out of the way if we can. Ivan, Yvonne, welcome to the party. David, welcome to the party. Juan Carlos, welcome to the party, my friend. Ashraf I don't know how you say the last name. Atalia. I don't know how you say it, but welcome, my friend. Jenna Flute. You can genuflect before his might. Welcome to the party, my friend. Edward says, how do you think free speech warrior Dana White would react if a fighter told Trump to fuck off in his post-fight speech? I mean, I don't think that would be taken very well. But we all know the score here. I mean, what are you going to do? Oh, as soon as I say that, my thing starts buffering, but it's good now. It's back. We're all right. We're doing all right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to kill off some of this. There we go. Is there anything else I need to kill off? No, that looks about right. Okay, just making sure we got enough bandwidth for this bitch. All right. Here comes Michael Chandler, who looks to be, by the way, in this week, in incredible physical condition. Not that he never or ever looks like he's out of shape, but, he looked like he was in shape for this bitch. There he is in the black shorts. Looks happy to be back. Diddy bopping the whole 9 yards. Yeah, and now my feet is starting to lag. Perfect timing. Isn't that great? Yeah, you just heard the commentary team talk about his shape. It's ridiculous. Here comes Charles Oliveira. With the time I have, I'm going to see if I can't get a better feed. Let's see how this goes. Probably famous last words, right? But let's try. I'm going to see how this goes. Okay, let me see if I can get a better one, because I don't really want to play this fucking game where I'm constantly like, how does it look? All right, let's see here. Let's fire this bitch up. All right, there we go. Let me turn this down a little bit so I don't get copyright strikes on this thing. All right, here comes Charles Oliveira. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Here comes old Chucky. Let me see if I can share my screen or at least get that set up. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to take that off. Oh, let's remove that. Sorry about that. You know how they get about their copyright. They get real bitter about that. But okay, here comes old Chucky. He's looking awesome. YouTuber says they have a face camera set up for Trump and autistic Buzz Lightyear all night. I hope you're ready for UFC to push them on us. Am I? What would this be new? Would this be new in any way? I mean, shit, this is old hat. All right, MMA Savage. Bo spamming overhands and leg kicks. He's on his way to beating Hamzat and DDP with ease. Yeah, I didn't. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in the post-fight show. Sam, Trump fluff for the next 4 years is going to be insufferable on these broadcasts. Get ready. This is what awaits us. I'm sick of coming back from work and watching people get stimulated over an orange 78-year-old man. I want to see violence, not politics. Well, my friend, if you don't want to see Trump, I don't know if this is the sport for you. I mean, I don't want to see him either, but you got to just kind of I'm not going to let anyone take fist fighting and my love of it from me, right? That's sort of the way I look at it. Brandon says, were you late because you didn't want to miss any camera shots? Guys, I wasn't late at all. The times that we start these broadcasts are always approximate, and they are very specifically timed. Typically on a fight night card, which you'll see is that fights are slotted for about 30 minutes each if they're not 5-round title fights. So if you have 4 fights on a card, let's say the 8 to 10 p.m. portion, you can do that in about 2 hours. So it's 4. So I always take the 3 fights, 1, 2, 3, and then we start at, I always put a tilde there, approximately 11:30. I said we would start for the main and co-main. Look at the description box. Not late at all. This is exactly how it goes, right? These are always approximate, but the time at which we start in terms of the portion of the card never changed. We're on time. Fancy says, Stipe wins the main event and gay marries Michael Stipe from REM and changes his name to Stipe Stipe. Keep up the good word. But why are we shitting on BC? Chill. Ginger is overrated. Talking about Bo Nickal. We'll talk about that. Jewel says, the visual BJ they gave Trump was so off-putting. Yeah, they love doing that. They're going to drum anybody who's not right-wing out of the sport as best they can. They're going to try. All right, here comes Buffer. He's announcing Luke, I wasn't late at all. I wasn't, Kyle. Sorry, I'm not. Go look at the description box. And when I said we would start, go look. Go look. There's nothing late about it. What's up, Dave? Thank you, my friend. I'm sure I'm in the minority, but why don't we just change the company name to MAGA MMA? Yeah, they probably will in short order. They probably will. All right, question. Would you be more surprised if Chandler looks rusty or if Oliveira isn't the same dog? After climbing the mountain, he will be as game bred. I think I'm looking a little bit more for durability from both of them. And to what extent does Chandler go chest to chest, kind of like what Arman did at UFC 300? It's kind of what I'm looking for. All right, last but not least, enjoy the content. Love from London. Thank you, my friend. All right, let's hold off on the super chats. I thank you so much. I really appreciate them. They do a lot, but let's take a break so we can focus here. I want to make sure I get this round timer working the right way too. Let's see. Should be for 5 minutes now. Yeah, it is. Okay. This is supposed to be up to 5 rounds. I would be a little bit surprised if it went the distance, but I didn't think Paul Craig and Bo Nickal were going to go the distance, and they did. So let's see how this goes. Yeah, boy, Mike Chandler looking sharp, man. $38, though. That's a tough place to be at 155 pounds, man. Here comes Oliveira, summoning the power of everyone's affection for him. Minus 250 favorite. People go gaga over these custom shorts from Venom, and I'm like, guys, I remember the sport when everyone could just make their own custom shorts, and most of those were crap too. You know, like it wasn't like they were all good, but like the Venom, y'all know the Venom shorts are nothing special, right? I mean, they're fine. Some of them are good, but like people going, "Oh my god, did you see the custom shorts?" And I'm like, dude, they used to all be custom shorts. All right. Keith Peterson on that Ozempic. Look how thin he looks. All right, here we go, boys and girls. Co-main event, UFC 309, Michael Chandler. Let me get this ready. Here we go. Should be perfect timing. Boom. There we go. We're off. All right, both coming out orthodox. Oliveira, center of the octagon. Both guys kind of level changing, feeling it out, seeing what's happening here. Chandler, level changing on feints. Trying to get Oliveira to bite. So far, no good. A lot of rear leg front kicks and teeps from Oliveira. Something got in his eye. Something got in his eye. Something is in Oliveira's eye. Something happened with Oliveira's right eye. He just blitzes forward, but still. A lot of rear leg front kicks to that lead knee of Chandler. Pay attention to that because Chandler was swiping down. So that means he might, let's see if he switch kicks over the top. Or excuse me, question mark kicks over the top. Oh, it looks like on the replay, Chandler might have scraped the eye with his hand. Oliveira seems like he's okay. Jab to the body and good angle change by Chandler. Ooh, right hand counter comes over the top for Oliveira. Takedown attempt from Oliveira. He can't quite get it, but he has a high single. He's going to trip him out. Boom, and he gets it. Chandler's going to, he's going to sit. He's going to sit. He was going to sit for a knee bar, and now he's on top. He's got an overhook on the ankle. It's almost like a reverse half guard that he's in. Chandler could be in deep half if he can get on the other side of the leg, but he can't. So this is going to be an interesting position to see how they extract themselves here. That's an interesting twist. Oliveira going for the takedown. I didn't imagine that. That's cool. Let's see. Chandler has 2-on-1 on the hand closest to his face of Oliveira, on the arm, I should say, closest to his face. I've got my Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar because I'm a puss. So you can see Oliveira has an overhook on that leg of Chandler. Why? Because if he can hold that up, Chandler would be less able to scramble. Is the sort of the shortest way I can describe that. And he can anchor himself to him, right? He can pull his weight down on top of him. Yeah, he's got like basically like a reverse half guard here. Let's see what he's gonna sit for here. Okay, let's see. I think he's gonna try and get. Yep, he's gonna try and peel the hand. Yep, I think he's gonna go for a crossface here. But there's no mount, obviously, because he has the leg on the same side, and he can't go for a knee cut because the leg is in between. But he's in a dominant position here. I mean, he could kind of ride this out. Not a lot is happening. That's a weird position to be stuck in. Yeah, I was wondering how they're going to extract it. If I'm Oliveira, I see. He's going to try and step out and come over to the side. That's what he wants to do here. And he's got the far side underhook. Look, the left hand. There he is. He's going to tripod up. He's going to knee cut. He's going to knee cut out or try to knee cut out. Can't quite get it. It's a tough position because your hips you're turned this whole way. Chandler, get off the cage. Get off the cage, Keith Peterson. Keith Peterson, don't let him do this. Okay, so now he's got double unders. He might be able to pass here. If he can drop his head and his shoulders and then tripod up again, he might be able to pass here. Oliveira, I was going to say, Chandler had a bit of a lockdown going to prevent Oliveira from getting this pass going, but he's just flat on his back here. Do you hear him talk about the lockdown, Steve? There you go, right on time. Yeah, look at Chandler with the lockdown. You see how he's scooping that? Well, it's gone now, but he was scooping that the outside leg of Oliveira. Yeah. Okay. There's round one in the books. I mean, it definitely seems like an Oliveira round just because of the positional battle that took place. Strange round, if I do say so myself, but not a bad one. I didn't think Michael Chandler looked bad. I just think he got caught off guard by that takedown. Sounds like Hooft is telling him to use his jab a little bit more. And now there's just Portuguese in the corner of Oliveira. All right, so definitely feel like I'm trying to do a looser score. Definitely feels like Oliveira 10-9. 10-9 Oliveira. Not a lot happened, but enough happened, I guess. All right. Seconds out. Okay. Oh, what's something in the corner there? All right, here we go. Here we go. Should be perfect timing. Boom. There we are. Round two. Same kind of thing. Oliveira taking center, rear leg teeps or rear leg oblique kicks. Now it's an outside leg kick. Chandler kind of galloping into position, changing angles off the jab. That's a little bit better for him. Oof. Here comes Chandler kind of switching stances through combination as Oliveira had his back up against the cage, but didn't seem like anything significant landed. Blitzing combination drops Chandler, but I don't know if did he slip? I couldn't quite tell. I couldn't quite tell if something landed or if he slipped, but he's out. He's out. He's out. He fell. I couldn't quite tell if he got dropped or if he slipped. He seems okay. Either way. Oh, and they're exchanging. And that's almost where he got hit with that left hook before, and he ran. Chandler literally running away. Same position he's in. Chandler goes, look at Chandler, square up against the fence. Man, Oliveira taking his time. That's wise. Man, Mike still looks pretty fast. Oliveira's got better timing. Right hand from Oliveira lands. Chandler got a little bit through the guard there of Oliveira. Oh, Oliveira is just desperate to jump on a guillotine, it looks like. Head kick from Oliveira blocked. Chandler's butt is touching the fence. Uppercut. Long range uppercut. Oh, big knee from Oliveira. Ooh, Chandler with a good left. And another one. These two match up so well. This is so great. Another left hand from Chandler kind of sneaks through. Okay, they're back to center. Switch on a double. He's got Chandler, and now he's in full mount. Oliveira whipped him over, and he's in full mount. Oh, this is terrible for Chandler. Unbelievable, dude. He's out wrestling the former Missouri Tiger wrestler. And he's got 2.5 minutes from mount with an underhook. Yikes. And look at him using his head pressure. See him using his head to force Chandler's chin and head back? Look at him grinding in that bitch. Hard elbow. So he's got the underhook on one side. He's grapevine, so he's attached to Chandler. Chandler can't really buck and roll here, and you know he's going to have really explosive hips. Head pressure all the way down. Dude, get off the motherfucking cage, Michael Chandler. I love you, buddy, but please stop. Oliveira postures up. Let's see what he wants. Moves to high mount. Mid-mount, I would say, not high mount. Mid-mount. There's different kinds of mounts. Oh, these are heavy. Now he's a little bit higher. Goes back to underhooking, and now he's back to further on the mount. Right? And grapevine. And look at the head pressure from Oliveira, bro. He is just absolutely using that thing as a battering ram. It's not headbutting. Headbutting would be, the striking of it. But like using it as like you're pushing on somebody, it's totally legal. Okay, Chandler's got some kind of cut. Hard to tell how bad it is. Oh, S-mount. He gives it up. S-mount is when one leg comes forward. So that would be S-mount. You're framing for an arm bar or a triangle from there typically. He gave it up, so he's back to regular mount. Man. Oh, hard elbow. Hard elbow. Oh, hard elbow from Oliveira. He tried to move to high mount. The fence is kind of blocking him a little bit. He goes back to the underhooks. Dude, this is an expert mount. Guys, mount is a lost art in the sport. And Charles Oliveira has a fucking masterful mount. He's trying to go for a head and arm triangle. He's trying to scoop it, and you see up, and then you see the bridging from Chandler to avoid it. It worked. He avoided the worst of it. And now he's got C-grip. I think he's gripping his own glove, which is a powerful grip. You can do that. You can grab your own glove. You cannot grab somebody else's. Great round for Charles Oliveira. Dude, I can't believe how well he's doing in the wrestling. I didn't predict that shit at all. That is crazy. Great round for Charles Oliveira. Let's look at this takedown again. Left hand, overhand, kind of walking through. Oh, it did land. It's a combination of both. It did land, and he seemed to have tripped over his own feet. Big knee. Boom. Show us the takedown. Here it is. Double leg. He tries to whip him over. Oh, it was a trap dump. So it's like a knee tap. You block the one side, and you can either go underhook, which would be a knee tap, or you can come over off the trap, and it's a dump. And he hit him with the trap dump. Nice work. Dude, fucking Charles Oliveira still adding skills to his repertoire. Unbelievable, dude. He's so good. He's so freaking good. All right, here we go. Seconds out. Charles Oliveira's seconds always take a long time to get out. You guys ever notice that? All right, here we go. Here we go. No, hold on. Here we go. Round 3. Of 5, by the way. Outside leg kick from Oliveira. Here comes Chandler, kind of heavy on the pre-slips, level changing. Okay, Oliveira's behind the 2 black lines, everyone. Pay attention. He can get bombed on here. Jab. Oliveira moves off of it. Now he claims. Again, rear leg front kick. Chandler down parries it. More like a circle parry. Okay. Tries to go for the takedown. Misses. Does get the underhook, but Chandler avoids it. Hard leg kick from Chandler. Wow. And another one. But he's got his back up against the fence, and he's now behind the black line. Oh, uppercut. Oh, they're exchanging. They're exchanging. Man. Charles, dude, they're right in front of each other. Look at this. They're right in front of each other. Chandler looks like he is a little bit, just can't quite get the right position. He does land a nice hard jab there. Leg kick from Oliveira. Oh, dirty boxing uppercut from Oliveira. Oh, switch knee. Lands on Chandler. Oh, good right hand from Chandler. Dude, they're fucking nailing each other. Pause. I actually hate people do that, but, you got to these days. Oh, Chandler overswings and throws himself completely to the ground. He stands. Oliveira starting to crack. Dude, he's just standing there. Oh, here comes the double leg. Let's see if Chandler can stop it. He's going to try and go to the back. He's going to beat the Wizard. He's going to pull out that outside leg, and he's going to turn him and drop him. Let's see. Get off the fence, Michael. How many times has Michael Chandler held the fence today? Unbelievable. Okay, now he dragged him to the mat, and now he's going to get his back. He's got, Chandler is in deep, deep trouble here. Oliveira is a master from the back. And the choking arm is on the bottom side here. You can see that. Let's see what Chandler can do. Dude, Chandler has been holding the fence like crazy in this bout. Chandler is now in a body triangle. Let's see what I think he's claiming his glove is being held. No, seems it's like okay. Someone's Oliveira says that Chandler's holding his glove. I don't know what's happening. Or he's trying to turn into him, but he got the body triangle. It's going to be very Chandler is trying. Look, so you're trying when you're escaping the back. There's several things you're trying to do. One of them would be escaping back to chest symmetry. He lost it there, but to the extent you can slide off or slide down or slide up, and you can challenge the back to chest symmetry. That's when you can escape, or at least threaten to escape the position. Now it's just Oliveira from the back, wrist control, choking arm on the bottom. This is going to really wear down Chandler. Oh. A little bit of blood coming from the nose of Oliveira, should be noted. Chandler doing his best. You pull at the end of the lever, right? So when you fight off a rear naked choke, you don't want to fight here. You kind of want to fight higher up here because it's easier to control the whole thing. So that's what he's doing. Let's see what Oliveira can do here. 42 seconds left or so. God, look at this control time. Back control time, 2 minutes plus. Total position time, 8 minutes plus for Charles Oliveira. Can't quite get the choke. Let's see. He might give it up and move to mount here. He let go. Yep, he's going to do that. Oh, no, he pulls him back in. Let's see. Recaptures the far side hip. Let's see what he can do with it. And you can see, even if you can pull the shoulder away from the back, you still affect the back to chest symmetry, right? And they're going to ride the round out like this. So Chandler is down probably 3 rounds, right? A bare minimum 2. I don't know if these were 10-8 rounds. There's not enough damage in them, but Chandler is getting kind of manhandled here a little bit. Kind of amazing. If there was one thing I was not anticipating, it's not like I thought that Oliveira had bad wrestling. I just didn't think Chandler would be this overwhelmed by it. Crazy. They're telling him not to throw single shots, right? Put some combinations together. Don't just fucking wing one and then try to move. Let's take a look at some of these highlights. Oliveira, boom. Oh, that uppercut was vicious. Boom. Let's see. He tries to, just peeled him off turn them the opposite way off the body lock. And these elbows are totally legal. All right, seconds out. Let's see how this goes. All right. Like I said, his corner is always the last one. There's the drone. Let's go. Here we go. Round 4, championship round. No titles on the line, obviously, but championship round. Double leg attempt from Oliveira. It misses, but it was just from way outside. Chandler switches stance, comes over the top with the left, semi-blocked. But now he's backed up behind the black lines within 18 seconds into the 4th round. Oliveira looks calm and in control. Chandler doing a lot of bouncing around. Seems a little frustrated. Oh, good left hand from Chandler. Good left hand and a right hand now from Oliveira. Jumping switch, and he gets semi-through. Right hand from Chandler. Oh, big left hand from Chandler. And a leg kick. He's still up against the fence, though. I mean, he's landing. Oh, he missed huge on a winging left hand. Double leg. You can see the down blocking stops him. Let's see what Oliveira can do with it. Attempted Uchimata. Misses. Oliveira's going to peel out that outside leg and turn him. Let's see. He's going to move now. He just gives up the back instead. Okay, he's going to what's called a broomstick takedown here. Yep, sure does it. There it is. And now he's going to move right to the back again. He doesn't have the far side hip controlled. Let's see what he does with it. He blocks it still. Let's see. He's going to have to scoot out and come around just a little bit. Man, Chandler can't grapple with this guy at all. And it's not even playing guard. There's no De La Hiva, reverse De La Hiva, De La Hiva X. There's none of that crap. All right, now the far side hip is captured. Oh, Chandler's trying to peel it. Putting his hand down there. Got to be careful with that. Got to be careful with that. Right? And he used the so he tried to peel. Oliveira went with the underhook and then used that to ride him over as he turned into turtle, right? Got to be careful doing that. And now he has the position anyway. Using your hands to peel the hooks, there are definitely many scenarios where you do want to do that, but there's also many scenarios where you don't want to. A three-quarter stack turns him off of his base. Got the body triangle a little bit here. Let's see. Almost, not quite. Now he's got it, but it's still inside the 2 legs of Chandler, which is not as bad. Well, again, also situationally depending. Anyway, there can be times when you want to peel the hook. There can be times, but you got to be very careful about what times you're doing that and in what circumstances. Dustin Poirier is a little bit better about it. He'll peel the hook when he's already on his base, right? And he's using it to stand, or if he's already standing, he's trying to shuck somebody off and turn them. There goes Chandler trying to turn. Oliveira goes with him, even only with 1 hook. Now Oliveira he's going to pull him back off of his base here a little bit. You can see he's standing on his left leg. You guys see that? Oliveira's standing on his left leg, putting weight on it. This will enable him to follow if he has to. And, of course, look at him posture, putting all the weight like a canopy on top of Chandler, just making him carry his weight, making him do it. Still, not a lot of ground and pound in these situations from Oliveira. He's using a lot of his hands to control position. So now Chandler is trying to peel the far side leg so he can turn completely in. But again, when he does that, notice Oliveira fires the underhook to control. Let's see. Now he's got a body triangle, and now he's got over the jaw. Let's see if he can get it. Let's see if he can get it over the jaw. He might have this. He might have this. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Chandler does a good job of avoiding the worst of that. Wow. Still got the body triangle. Snatches him off of his base. Man. What a dominant display of grappling from Charles Oliveira. If I'm Oliveira, though, I would want to roll him back to his belly and then get some ground and pound going. A little too much time spent on control. I mean, I realize you're dealing with a very squirmy guy in Michael Chandler, but explosive scrambler, right? Damn. Yeah, he's just going to punt the rest of the round. Man, look at that, dude. Charles Oliveira is a fucking beast. I'm not saying Chandler won that round. I am saying he got a lot of good strikes in, and Oliveira got a ton of grappling in, but didn't have a lot of ground and pound. So I think he won the round, Oliveira. But at worst, listen to what I'm saying. At worst, it's 3-1. Like, Chandler basically needs a stoppage here. Otherwise, he's going to lose. I don't think Chandler looks like unathletic. Has he ever? I don't even think he looks old tonight. I do think he looks like the game has kind of passed him by a little bit, at least at this level. All right, here we go. Again, his corner's the last one to get out. It's kind of unbelievable. Yo, don't get manscaped. Get toiletries. Here we go. All right, last round, best round. Oliveira looks like he's taking his time here. Just all you have to do is like not get hit with anything big. Easier said than done. Chandler blitzing again. Jab to the body. That jab to the body with the angle change is nice. Oh, good job. Oliveira kicked out his knee when he lowered his level. That was nice. Looked like it stunned him a little bit. Ooh, reaches for the takedown. Nowhere close, but now he's got him behind the black lines. That's really all he needed. Now you're behind the black lines. And now Oliveira tags him with a right hand. And now he's cage cutting. So those shots are just to get him to behind the black line. That's it. Oh, he's grabbing behind the head. Oh, couldn't get it. Couldn't get it. Ooh, good. Ooh, good right hand. Oh, huge right hand. Huge right hand from Chandler. A huge right hand. And he slips again on the left. He's going to get dumped over. Now Oliveira's underneath. He's going to go for octopus guard, and he's going to reverse. He's going to try and reverse. These are to the back of the head. I'm not sure where these are. He's beating the hell out of Charles Oliveira. He might come back. Are these to the back of the head? Where are these? Okay. Oliveira grabs butterfly guard underneath. Man, what a rally by Michael Chandler. What a rally. Okay. Double unders. Half guard from Oliveira. He's just trying to hang on to survive here for a moment before he can get his wits back. Chandler's got him pinned. Good. Heavy elbows. Heavy elbows. Now Oliveira's got full guard. This is better for Oliveira, but Michael Chandler definitely in control through 2 minutes of the final round. Big elbow. Another one. Man, Oliveira's got to do something here. He's getting just banged on. All right. He's got double wrist. He's got, he's got a gable grip on top. He's going to frame for an armbar. Let's see if he can get it. He's going to frame for an armbar. You can see him twisting. He's got, let's see, he's got both his knees on the inside. Triangle attempt. Michael Chandler sits his posture up to avoid the worst of it. That's correct. So what Oliveira's going to have to do is either pull him to him with his legs or kick him and push him away. Man, as soon as I said, like, all you have to do is not get hit with anything big, I'm like, oh, look, he switched the grip on the feet. Pay attention. He might be going for something here. He might switch to the other side. Did you hear him talking about it? There you go. He lets go of it, pushes away, stands. There it is. Great rally by Oliveira, but Chandler looks to be in control. Less than 2 minutes to go. He's going to wing a huge shot over the top. Every time Chandler has thrown that overhand left, he's spilled out over his feet. You guys notice that? Oliveira looks wobbled. Big left hand from Chandler again. Right hand from Oliveira. Chandler's waving him on. Front kick from Oliveira. Double leg. Gets behind him. Almost like a walking duck under. And then trips out the inside leg. He hasn't fully captured the back yet, but he's pretty close. Still doesn't have control of the outside hip, but he's just going to hang on for dear life here. He's not going to do anything else. If he can hold this position for the rest of the round, he will. All right, now he captured the far side hip. This is better. He's going for a rear naked choke with the arm in, which I have seen them do in pure jiu-jitsu, but I've never seen anyone pull off successfully in MMA. Certainly not at this level. I think Oliveira is going to ride this round or ride this position. Yeah. Look at him. Look at his position, chest to back. All right, here we go. He's going to try and dump him. Let's see. Boom. Couldn't quite get it. Chandler's going to try standing again. Let's see. Michael Chandler is strong as an ox to do that. Here we go. One more time. Boom. Can't get it, but his control is way too good. Control is way too good. Yeah, they let him go. All right. What a rally by Michael Chandler in the fifth. What a survival moment by Oliveira. An overall fantastic display of grappling ability from Charles Oliveira. Fantastic. We'll talk about what this means for both guys afterwards. Hey, it's the guy who ruined Twitter. Standing next to the guy who told everyone to storm the Capitol. That's fun. Oh, Reed Harris. There is Charles Oliveira greeting Reed Harris, formerly the head of WEC. Now has been a UFC, employee for quite some time. Fantastic fight, by the way. Fantastic fight. Fantastic. Really fun. Good stuff. Great stuff. All right, here we go. Let's see this replay. Boom. Oh, man. He buckled that lead knee with that rear leg oblique kick. That was incredible. Boom. Look at that right hand. Oliveira got his shit rocked. Another one, or maybe that's the same one. Either way, it was a hard right hand. Oh, yeah, and you could see Oliveira. Boom. Oh, missed that one. Oh, missed that. Oh, see that? Every time Chandler threw that big left, he kind of left his feet, and he paid for it, usually, sometimes with positional change or Oliveira being able to escape off out of a bad position against the cage himself. Boom. But the thing is, if you can keep your chin tucked in those positions and you've got over-under control, which is what he has, one hand over the shoulder, one hand under it, it's, and you keep everything nice and tight, like those big drops like that, they don't really work. That was a great 5th round by Michael Chandler. Didn't quit on himself. Fought to the last minute. Oh, for fuck's sake. How many times are they going to show this fucking orange oaf? All right. Here we go. I'm going to guess 49-46. You might see a 48-47, but Charles Oliveira should win this one, right? Ozempic Keith Peterson there. Here we go. Let's hear it. Oh, wow. 2 49-46s and a 49-45. So there's a 10-8 in there somewhere. Charles Oliveira. So what do you do with Charles Oliveira? We'll talk about this on the post-fight show. What do you do with him? You could give him Max Holloway. You could give him a title shot. He gets the winner of Arman because it would be a rematch either with Islam or Arman. He's talking to Joe Rogan. Let's see what he has to say. All right, he's asking for his thoughts on the fight. I got to learn Portuguese. It's not too dissimilar from Spanish. Not like my Spanish is all that great. Man, most wins in UFC history. Jim Miller, who got one earlier, 27. Charles Oliveira with 23. He ties Donald Cerrone and Andrei Arlovsky. Incredible. Incredible. All right, and he's giving it's a big love fest. Him arm in arm with Michael Chandler. All right, Joe's going to ask him what's next. All right, let's see what he says. Doesn't really say. Whoever's next. And then he shouts out his team. Charles Oliveira, very hard to dislike. Oh, yeah, we got to Dave already. All right, here we go. Let's enjoy. Oh, yeah, we got this one already as well. Robert says, hello again, Luke, from a lazy Sunday Arvo. I don't know what Arvo means in Sydney. With these live fight calls, you are doing something genuinely meaningful for the donks. Please keep them coming. If you guys like them, we will keep them coming. And all that stands in our way. Oh, here's Michael Chandler. All I know is how to throw American Badass caution to the wind. Good Lord, dude. Michael Chandler is jacked. He calls out Conor McGregor. I don't know how interested Conor's going to be. There we go. Rufus says, you get so pissed at stalling, but didn't mind that. Are you more patient with nasty BJJ guys? Well, from Mount and when he's working, I think that there could be more done to make people work from the back. But from the Mount, you can stall. I mean, you can stall from either position. I just didn't feel like he was stalling that much at all from Mount. You could argue that there were places he was stalling from the back. I don't think that's crazy. There's Tommy Aspinall. There he is. Tommy. All right, hold on. I'd smash my PC if Chandler won with illegal shots. Yeah, some of those look like they were a little bit to the back of the head. We'll talk about that later. Chase says, the fuck was Keith looking at? 10 shots to the back of the head. Some of them were kind of whipping around a little bit. Some of them were. So there you go. General says, Chandler's a dirty cheater. Sadly, cheating is legal. Cheating is legal in MMA. I don't know if folks know that, but it absolutely is legal. J. Ray B02. Keith Peterson should have his license revoked. It's a little strong. Ketty Meteu says, isn't it awesome how Charles ignored Trump? I would never assume. I think it's a bad idea to be like, hey, a guy I like as a fighter has political views that align with mine, unless you're right wing. I don't know what his views are, but I would argue it's a mistake to be like, oh, he might have views that align with mine. They probably don't. Rob says, is it safe to say the UFC's access to the White House will offset any meaningful amount of fans checking out of the sport? In the short and medium term, yes. Long term, harder to say. Harder to say. Political fortunes change over time. And if you live long enough, you can watch them. I've seen a few changes in either direction. And that can portend some big things. But it takes, 5, 10, 15, 20 years to really see the full effect of them. So short to medium term, it will have they can push out as many people with disparate political views as they like. It won't mean anything. Long term, it becomes a much different question, and that's just too hard to predict. Okay, but neither here nor there for the present moment. The present moment is now the return of John Jones after quite some time, and the return of Stipe Miocic. I don't have super high expectations for this fight, which is to say, let me be clear, I don't have low expectations for this fight. I have moderate expectations for this fight. Stipe has been gone for a long time. John has been relatively inactive. John looked good against Cyril Gane, but Cyril Gane fought like shit. Stipe didn't look good against Francis Ngannou, but Francis Ngannou, particularly the guy he fought in 2021, hard guy to look good against, right? By the way, I was looking at it. The last 5 fights that Stipe has had have either been, not counting this one, either Francis Ngannou or Daniel Cormier. That's a tough 5-fight stretch. You got to fight those guys fucking 5 times. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. There's a shitload going on here. But here we go. Here, I'll show you where my screen is at a little bit here. Oops. There we go. There it is right there. Okay. Don't want to get in too much trouble with the North Korean censors. So I don't have 34th and Penn. That's where BC and I get off when we were returning to go back home after MK. We go to Penn. Well, we do go. It's Penn Station is where we used to go. We now go to Moynihan Station, which is across the street. But you get the idea. Okay. Putting that aside, I don't have, I guess I mentioned, I have moderate expectations for this bout. Nothing crazy, nothing too high or low. There's Daniel Cormier in the middle of the octagon. And the camera just keeps turning. Look at this. They're trying to tie this bout, and I know they did a cool thing at the weigh-in, which is they had the same scale from Ali Frazier, and that's cool. But it's like Jones has not proven to be the best heavyweight in the world at all, and neither has Miocic in the current set of available heavyweights. Like obviously, Stipe had a very decorated moment, and John has done well given who he's fought. But like. Is this for the number 1 versus number 2 guy in the sport? That is very disputed. Tom Aspinall, to me, has a claim to being number 1 in the sport at heavyweight. Francis obviously has a claim to being number 1 in the sport. So, like, to me, it feels a little bit disingenuous to be like, this is the clash of the Titans. It's a clash of good heavyweights, great heavyweights, potentially. But I guess we'll see. Also, if John wins, it'll be very curious to see what he says after the fight. Now that Dana has basically given him the mandate, it's Aspinall or it's nothing. It narrows his choices. I mean, I know at this point he's been kind of laying the bed to like not have to do any of that, but now he doesn't really have a choice. So we'll see what he does. We'll see what he does if he wins. I do expect John to win. I do expect John to look pretty good. How exactly he does it, I don't know. I don't have super high expectations for Stipe here. I think being gone as long as he did, we just, I don't know. I don't really know. There are plenty of unanswered questions in either direction, but I simply just don't know what to expect from Stipe here. So my thought is, of a range of possibilities, the likeliest of them is that John gets his hand raised one way or the other. The question is how dominant it is. The question is how much damage he takes. But as we said before, if Stipe wins this, it's hard to overstate just how monumental a victory that would be and how disruptive to the heavyweight division it would be. A guy who's been a complete afterthought coming back and beating the heavyweight champion while you've got an interim champion. And then the reason why it gets more complicated is like, oh, you could just have Stipe versus Aspinall, and you could, and then John could fight the winner of that. But like John losing here, which could be his last fight, would be very, very devastating for him. Again, I don't think that is the likeliest possibility, but it would be crazy if it happened. So Stipe winning would be like rolling a grenade into the division. Boom. And now you're having to just live with what is left over. It would be a mess. It would be kind of, I don't know if amazing is the word to say. It'd be something to watch. It'd be something. Is anybody out there taking Stipe to win? Just straight up taking Stipe to win. Hard to have too much faith in a 42-year-old guy, but I guess it's possible. It's possible. All right, let's see where we're at. Keith was drunk and on a smoke break for that fight. He could have been. With Trump in office, Jones versus Velasquez is happening. But I believe Velasquez's charge is a state charge, so he can't be pardoned. So he's going to be not available for quite some time. OG McGee, old gloves Jones. Eye pokes back on the menu, boys. Who is the referee for this? It's Herb Dean. So yeah, I don't think he's going to take a point unless it's really egregious. Henry says, Luke, if Stipe knocks Jones out, would that be the biggest upset in MMA history? No, it would be a big one. Here's the thing. It's like when you say biggest upset, that typically is defined by the odds, the betting odds. So no, it would not be. However, in terms of one of the most consequential upsets, it would be up there. Like in just the ways in which it would reshape the division, reshape the Jones's career, it would do a lot. It would do a lot. Again, I just don't think it's very likely. JG, it's okay to not be a fan of Trump, but he never told people to storm the. Yeah, he never said those words, storm the Capitol, but he definitely encouraged them to do fucked up shit. They didn't do it without his encouragement. Rufus, the best part of Trump promoting UFC is Ari Emanuel is one of the biggest Dem donors. Keep your friends rich and your enemies rich, and then find out which is which. There you have it, boys. JA420, thanks for the live watch alongs, Luke, and analysis. Doing my best, bro. Epic Poke, no contest, calling it now. That's on the menu too, boys. That's on the menu too. Yes. So we'll see. We'll see. I feel like Jones winning here is the likeliest outcome. Fully expect that. But we're going to find out. All right, here comes. God, the pacing is so much better than last night. Jesus. I mean, it's still a little late in the night, but the pacing is just infinitely better. Okay, guys, I don't know anything about current music. Who is this that Stipe Miocic is coming out or walking out to? Also, I'll just say this: Madison Square Garden is a historic arena, but there's nothing special about it, like as a building. There he is. There's Stipe, not giving a fuck about anything. Man, look at this guy. Here he comes. Man, look at that look on his face. Doesn't give a shit. He's got that. He's got old school Fedor vibes. Looks like he's waiting for the bus. All right. He's in the prep point. Let's see his condition. Looks pretty good. They made him take those pictures with the gold gloves, and now he's doing this, but all right. Kissing the rosary. Puts it on his coach, Marcus Marinelli. Big old high fives. He's got Bubbas in that corner that look like they've been in a few scraps themselves. God damn. All right. Let's see what he's got, boys and girls. I don't know. 31% of the chat is taking Stipe. That's a higher amount than I thought would be there. That's a high amount. YouTuber, please don't ever fold to the horde of lead paint chip babies screeching out at you. Yeah, I don't care about, people like be mad about it. I mean, I don't care. Dan says John Jones is a Trump supporter. He wins. He probably should win, although I don't think it's because of his political alignment. It's because of the matchup and his skill level. Sheshank, I want Dustin to destroy Chandler again next week. Would they run that one back? They could. They could run that one back. Michael Jardine, Stipe by first round KO. LOL, imagine. Unlikely, but possible. Alex says, MG. Oh, it's MGK. Luke, these donk streams are a much needed reprieve from these dark times. Hey, man, let's just enjoy the fights as best we can, y'all. If Stipe KOs Jones, I bet DC is going to pry that mic off Joe's roided hands to get the doctor. I doubt it. Stipe wins via leg break, disappointing everyone. I would hate to see it. Whatever my difference is with Jones or other people in the fight game who aren't my favorite, I would not want to see them injured. That would be bad. That would be gross. I would not want to see that. Where was the resume review for these two? Yeah, where's our studio? We don't really have the ability to do it right now. All right, here comes John. Coming out to many men. And then he changes it to God. What's the name of that song? It's another 50 Cent song. Like, God put a smile on my face. And then he'll change that one to what? The champ is here? There it is. Yeah, Jadakiss. All right, here comes Jones. Got a big smile on his face. There are a few things most people would be like this, but he takes a particular glee in being received as like a hero. There's John greeting his brothers Arthur and Chandler, his dad as well. Man, they put Aspinall right next to these guys and his fiance/wife. I'm not sure what their marital status is. All right, let's see how there's Gordon Ryan. I see him. Brandon Gibson, Greg Jackson. Is Jones no longer working with Tusa? Tusa was his longtime BJJ coach. I don't know if he's still working with him or not. Jones looks to me a little bit more muscular than he did against Cyril Gahn. A little bit. Not like crazy amount, but definitely more muscular. Or maybe a little bit leaner. I think he came in a little bit lighter this time. There's Gordon Ryan. Everyone's got like a little message for him. I don't know what this guy is saying. Got his ears tucked into the hat. Man, look at this. Tail of the tape here. UFC heavyweight champion, former two-time UFC light heavyweight champion, longest unbeaten streak in UFC history, 19 fights. Most title fight wins in UFC history, 15. Yeah, dude, his light heavyweight run was this whole week, dude. I mean, for all the criticisms you can make of John, people going after him for his like light heavyweight resume to me is a fucking joke. It's like, dude, I remember what everyone was saying for every single one of those fights. And everyone was like, can he do it against this guy? 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 And then he just goes and, for the most part, exceptions here or there, blows the fucking doors off of them. John looks motivated. Let's see how this goes. Also, one factor about John that has been, I don't know how relevant it'll be tonight, but dude's seemingly has a granite chin up to this point anyway. Up to this point. Let's see how this goes. He cartwheels in. All right, and everyone has to genuflect before the orange oath. Got some traps on old Johnny there. All right, here we go. 37 and tail of the tape. Age 37 for Jones, 42 for Miocic. They're both 6'4". I think Jones is a little bit taller than him. 237 versus 248. Bit of a difference in weight with an 84.5-inch reach advantage for Jones to 80-inch reach for Miocic. We'll see how that goes. Barclay is better than MSG. As a building, yes. Nicer amenities, cooler exterior, and easy to get in and out of. Yeah, because they're both pretty easy to get in and out of. But yes, I agree. Brian says, at least Stipe doesn't look like he walked to the octagon shuffling across a carpet in slippers. That's true. Poor Mike had a fucking copper tone knee brace on last night. The T Kogo. Last time Stipe fought was the last Reebok event. Jesus. Who would you have picked 5 years ago? John. I would have picked John. Johnson J says, in theory, if John took steroids for this fight, there's no repercussions, right? Since it's his last fight. If he got busted, they would turn it to a no contest, assuming he wins, right? And okay, so in your situation, you're imagining he wins and he gets busted. They would just turn it to a no contest. But what are they gonna do? Suspend him, if he doesn't fight again? Rufus says, do you expect John to be on the front foot shooting a ton or more movement and counters? I definitely think early he's going to be hesitant, but I do think he's going to want to establish the takedown. I do. Here's Buff. And a reminder to everyone watching who's just joining us, of course, post-fight show is going to be a good one today. Got a lot to get to. As soon as this fight is over, don't go anywhere. We're going to recap everything from this bout, from the co-main, the rest of the main card, anything relevant. Don't go anywhere. Stipe looks in pretty good shape, all things being what they are. He's a plus 455 underdog. Jesus. He's 5-2 as a dog. But I'm going to guess most of that 5 wins are when he was earlier in his career. Although maybe the second Cormier fight, I think he was also a dog. This is it for Stipe if he loses bad, right? I mean, he didn't confirm it, but it seems that way. Seems that way. Question you have to ask yourself is, do you get a double retirement tonight? I don't think so. I think that would be pretty rare, but possible. All right, now they're introducing old Johnny. Dude, we talked about his stat line. We'll look at it in the post-fight show, especially if he wins. His stat line, like strikes absorbed per minute, strikes landed per minute, takedown defense, takedown accuracy. His stat line is outrageously good. Outrageously good. When you have got that much, you got that many wins, that many tough opponents, most of those are title fights, and you've got a stat line like his, it's shocking how good it is. All right. Nothing left to it but to fight. They're going to get final instructions here. Here we go, folks. Damn, Stipe looks a little bit taller. They touch gloves. Here we go. Here we go. Let's do it. Round one. Here we go. John comes out southpaw. Let's see what Stipe does. So he's going to circle so far. John on the front foot a little bit. Big left hand from John. Got a bit of a counter from Miocic. Stipe already behind the black line here a little bit. They're playing a lead hand fencing game. Rear leg front kick from John. Remember, single leg high variance, a single strike high variance, from John Jones. He doesn't really put combinations together. He will at times, but he's very good about just all kinds of different strikes. You can't really quite predict where they're going to come from, what direction. They're just very, 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 very different, but he doesn't put a lot of combinations together. Stipe whiffs a right hand. Middle kick there from John. Man, Stipe looks slow. Stipe misses with a right hand. John gets underneath it and recaptures center. Good fight IQ there. John has good, very good fight IQ. Very good. Oh, a Sotogari from John, and let's see if he can keep Stipe down. Big trip. Let's see if Stipe can keep him down. He's going to try here. He's going to step over. Big one. This is a great start for John Jones. That Osotogari was what he hit on who? Like Matyushenko? I can't remember. He's going to move to mount here. Man, he's going to whip this dude. Stipe's trying to get the underhook to stand. He's going to get the underhook on the other side, though. Yeah, good point by Daniel Cormier. Jones's ground and pound is typically lethal, bro. Lethal. All right, Stipe's trying to get to a corner. He turns to the side here. Dude, he's going to get bombed on. Jesus. Yeah, he needs the underhook on his left side. Stipe does. Good elbow from John. Another one that kind of got through. Yeah, and now he's into side control. Stipe, he's going to try and do crucifix. Stipe's going to try and stand and turn into him, but look how John just keeps his weight on top. Two great elbows from John. Dude, he's tearing Stipe to pieces. What the fuck was the point of this fight, man? Big ass elbows. Big ass elbows. He's still in half guard. Minute 48 left. Stipe's got to bump off this fence and get him off of him, man. Yeah, huge elbows from John. Well, he lasted longer than Cyril Gahn. I guess that's something. Man, this is like a 10-8 round. Not quite, but it's leading that way. Some 12-6 elbows there a little bit, kind of. He gets cross-faced flat. Another big elbow. Stipe's getting just munished here. Push off the fence, bro. There's that crucifix he's trying to roll to. Yep, you're going to have to push. And he does. He gets full guard. That's better for him. See, this is why he needs to fight Aspinall. I'm assuming this fight will continue like this way until it is over. Alex Pereira is not a good fight for him. He's too good. It's a waste of time. Passes to side control. You can see Stipe trying to dig that far side underhook, but it's, yeah, John bicep control. You saw that as soon as I called it. Yep. Good. Oh, he's going to go for the Kimura here, potentially. He's going to go for that. You see him? Now he might go for a Darce. Stipe going underneath to to avoid the worst of it. Man, 10-8 round. 10-8 round. He beat the shit out of Stipe. This is what I mean. This is why fighting fucking Pereira, like, what is the point of that? There's no point to that. This guy should be fighting Tom Aspinall. That's a much closer fight. Now maybe Stipe's got something for him here in round 2. I'm not optimistic. Figured that John would be the winner, and he just absolutely, dude, Stipe looks like he doesn't even want to be there. Like, what are we doing, dude? What was the point of this? But all right, let's not count out Stipe. Let's see how this goes. Good front kick. Oh, Sotogari. Boom. All right, let's see. Here we go. Round 2. Stipe's going to have to do something here, man. Got to jab his way in, do something. All right, Stipe just kind of looks like he's waiting. Does a bit of like a really tepid inside leg kick. Now he's behind the black lines. Dude, this fucking fight blows. What was the point of this? John with his fingers, but nothing in the eye. That one was almost in the eye. Long guard from John. Good jab from John. Good uppercut from Stipe-ish. Pushes him back a little bit, Stipe does with a combo, but nothing scored. Man, John looks like he's so comfortable. He switches to southpaw. Stipe is just waiting a lot, man. You got to get something going. God, look how like gun shy Stipe looks. Again, pay attention to the diversity of the strikes from John Jones. It's just really hard to tell what's coming. Level change. Stipe bought a bit on it. He slipped a jab. That's nice. This is better from Stipe. You got to get this guy behind the black lines, man. Stipe with a shot to the body. It's something. John playing the levels here a little bit with the lead hand. Oof. Good slip by John. He tried to counter. He was a little bit out of position, but that was great. Oh, that front kick is tearing Stipe up. It's tearing him up, man. Man, Stipe, what was the point of this fight, bro? What was the point of this fight? We have to wait 2 years for this? Or a year and some change? Well, almost 2. Halfway through round 2. Bro, Stipe isn't doing anything. Good shot to the body from John. John's just picking him apart. Look at him. Gets way out of the way from range. Good jab from John. They clinch. Good shot to the body from John. Dude, John's just dictating all the terms here. Oblique kick as he tries to move in. John's kicking his ass. The jab from John already looks great. Good right hand. from Stipe. That one snuck through, but as I mentioned, John's got a fantastic chin. At least we think so. Stipe doing a good job of trying to stay a little bit in better space in the octagon. Right hand, you better get off the motherfucking fence, Stipe. Well, swivel jab from Stipe misses, but it does get John to move out of the way. Stipe, you have to. I mean, who the fuck am I? What am I saying? Who cares? I'm just saying, like, you have to have offense to win, bro. Good jab from John. Pops the head back of Stipe. Good inside leg kick. Well, by the way, when he does that kick, notice how it pulls Stipe square and makes him a more hittable target. That rear leg teep, man, is absolutely. That front kick to the gut is unbelievable from John. That might be the best weapon he's got. Here comes Stipe chasing him. Can't quite get to him. Big turning back kick. Lead hook from John kind of makes a mark. This is better from Stipe. He's feinting a little bit. Stipe trying to get through off the jab. That long guard from John has been fantastic. He's got a customary. All right, better round for Stipe in that he didn't get absolutely fucking demolished, but he didn't get a lot going there either. John Jones round. So John should be up, I'm going to say either 2018 or he might be up 2017. But easily John wins both of those rounds. Easily. Heavy breathing from old Stipe there. Marcus Martinelli telling him you're letting him off the hook. You got to do more. That is true. That is true. John looks awesome. I wasn't sure what to make of how he looked against Cyril Gane because the fight didn't look that long, or the fight didn't go that long. John looks fucking fantastic. He looks great. Let's see how he carries this weight into round 3. Let's see how this goes. All right, seconds out. Oh, that kick to the body had Stipe fucking groaning. Round 3 coming up. Here we go. Round 3. I think John might put him away here. I thought he put him away inside 3. This is where I think good. Dude, John looks fluid. Good jab from John. He gets backed up here. Stipe kind of flurries a little bit. Stipe staying on him. Good right hand from Stipe. John evades it, though. Oh, great hook. Lead hook from John. Notice it's going jab, hook, and not in rhythm. Like you can't quite tell which one it's going to be. All right, Stipe with an uppercut on the inside. That's something. It only gets through a little bit. Another one only gets through a little bit. John running here a little bit. Stipe trying to put a little bit more pressure on him. This is something. Another front kick from Jones. And that lead leg, inside leg kick, turning him square every time. He's going to build on that. Oh, big right hand and left hand. I think it got through, but not too bad from that one got through from Jones. Right hand. Good leg kick from Jones. Stipe kind of trying to jab his way to the inside. Oh, great. Oh, Jones hit him with a jab, but that really hurt him. And then a right hand. Oh, big right hand from Stipe. And John clinches. Now they're up against the fence. That hurt Stipe bad. But he avoided the worst of it. Underhooked and they escape. I bet that cut over his eye is damning. He might have a broken orbital or some kind of issue there for Stipe. Jones kind of head kick blocked. Man, Stipe just looks old, man. Good jab from John. Stipe trying to get inside that long guard. That long guard of John is so effective. John just picking him apart with some of these leg kicks. Stipe trying to put a boxing combination together, and he's blitzing, and then John is reading it, getting underneath and turning. Great jab from John. Look at John switching stances. He's got a good jab from either stance. Now he's back to orthodox. Great jab. Good jab from Stipe. Backs up John a little bit. Dude, you better get off the fucking fence, bro. Yeah, Stipe is frustrated. He can't find him. Decent right hand. Good takedown defense from Stipe. He manages to avoid the worst of it. You better recollect your shit, buddy. Like stepping sidekick. Stipe throws a right hand. Nothing doing. John still on the front foot, backing him up. Oh, brilliant left hand from John. Man, people talk about Jones's reach and how good it is for offense. It's good for defense too, man. And look at him rolling. Shot comes off the side, intercepts him with a hook. Oh, Stipe just can't get anything going, man. Oh, decent shot there. Cormier noting that Stipe's hit him more this round than the two previous ones. That is true, but spinning back kick. Oh, and it hit him. It dropped him. This should be it. This should be it. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. That's it. That's it. That's it. John Jones beat the fucking bags off of him. Beat the bags off of him. He better fight Tom Aspinall. There's nothing. Look at this guy. Look at how good he is. It's a waste of his time to go after Alex Pereira. It's a waste of his time. It's a waste of our time. Feed that guy to Tom Aspinall. And by the way, after tonight, I would favor John to beat Tom Aspinall. I mean, that's a different kind of fight, obviously, but that dude looked awesome. Credit where credit is due, dude. John Jones looked awesome tonight. Granted, he beat up a 42-year-old guy who I'm not sure should have been fighting, but nevertheless, he looked fantastic. Boom. Look at that jab. Oh, and it hurt him so bad. Then he hit him with the boom. Oh, golly, dude. Golly. And then he added those back kicks right to the ribs. Golly, it crumbled Stipe. Oh, and then he just follows him up. Let's see one more time. Let's see where he steps to the inside. Boom. Got him just with the heel, too. Oh. Vicious. Vicious. Bah. They were talking about Stipe being his biggest test. Please get the fuck out of here, Joe Rogan. No one thought that. No one thought that. His biggest test is in the audience or at PFL. How does Stipe look? He looks all right. I think Stipe has to be done, right? I think Stipe has to be done. Let's do this. All right, let's get the announcement here. Damn, look at Stipe's face. He looks like he's in agony. All right, let's see what he says. Let's see what he says. Yeah, I was say it wasn't deliver. It was on the other side. Still, it was to the rib. Look at the shot. Oh, look at that jab, perfectly timed. Bang. Oh, oh man, that shot. That was so brutal. All right, let's see what he says. There's Tommy. Okay, religious shout out. All right, guys, Jesus loves you, in case you didn't know. There we go. Says he's not going to retire. There we go. It's all we wanted. Trump gets a shout out. USA chant. There you go. He's proud to be a Christian American champion. Okay, let's see if they interview Stipe, and then we'll get this post-fight show started. Here's Stipe. He said he sucked ass and he got lost in there. That's a pretty good way to describe it. All right, he's asking him what's next for Stipe. I'm done. Wow. Stipe has retired. He says he's retiring. That makes sense. It's a good call. There we have it. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's reset here just a little bit. John gave him his belt. John gave Donald Trump his belt. There you have it. Right side up, too. He did it the right way. There we have it. Okay. All right. So there we have it. That is done. So let's do this. Let's get this post-fight show started, shall we? Okay, let me let the Twitter donks know. Let's see. All right, and then we're going to get this going. Let's see. Okay. Hang on here, boys and girls, and then we're going to go. Let's see. Okay. All right. That is done. So, excuse me here. So, without further ado, hi everyone. My name is Luke Thomas. Let's get this well, you know what? Let me do this the right way. UFC 309 is in the books. Let's get this party started, shall we? Okay, let me pull up the results here, and we're going to, of course, look at the stats here in just a minute as well to make sure we have everything that we need. Man, that was an absolute shellacking, if ever there was one. That wasn't close for a second. All right, I'll pull this up, and then we'll get going. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Luke Thomas. This is our UFC 309 post-fight show. For everyone who's been joining me from the Watchalong, thank you very much. For everyone joining me now, I greatly appreciate it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through results. If you don't want spoilers, obviously this is not the place to be. Let's assess what happened at UFC 309. And of course, one more time, as I always have to do here very quickly, we have to thank the people who make all of this possible. In that particular case, it's our friends at Toiletries. LT15 for 15% off. There you have it. You can get this 15% off, as well as everything else they have, 40% off. Guys, now's the time to get it. You want your grooming stuff. You want your scrubbers. You want your beard wash. Anything for male grooming needs, they've got you covered. There's a link in the description box below. You can check that out and use the code LT15 for 15% off. Okay. Let me share my screen, or at least let me get this set up so that I can share my screen. And then we will get through these results. Okay, very good. Oops, excuse me. Here we go. All right. So let's talk about what we just saw there, because that was a ass kicking of epic proportion. UFC 309 took place, of course, at Madison Square Garden in New York City, New York. In your main event, Jon Jones retains his heavyweight title, defeating Stipe Miocic via spinning back kick and elbows, is the way they describe it. TKO, essentially, at 4:29 of round number 3. Stipe almost made it outside of round number 3, but didn't in the end. Ultimately, this was an ass kicking. This was an ass kicking from pillar to post. There wasn't really one time where I thought Stipe was in this. There was a couple of good shots he landed in round 2 and maybe in round 3. Stipe was kind of able to when he was able to get close, he had a couple of uppercuts he would fire through the middle. Those landed. There was a couple times he was able to kind of sort of chase down Jon, backing him up to the fence and then retreating one direction or the other, able to fire a little bit over the top. But a lot of that was like incidental contact, or, Jon was able to kind of roll with it. Stipe got almost nothing. I can't wait to see the stats. He got almost nothing. The story of this fight, very clearly, without question, is that Jon Jones looked awesome, and Jon Jones beat the shit out of Stipe Miocic. This was not close for a second. The first round, I wasn't sure that Stipe was even going to be able to get out of that round, and he did, but credit to him. Credit to Stipe for holding on and finding ways to minimize the damage as much as he possibly could, but he got worked. Jon was able to pick him off at range with what seemed like whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, for the most part. What did he do? The oblique kicks to the knee had an impact, but really it was up the middle. The front kicks to the gut were tearing Stipe to pieces. Jon had a good jab from either stance. Left-handed stance, it worked. Right-handed stance, it worked. And of course, there was the one moment in the third, or maybe I can't remember, second or the third, where he hit him with the jab and it stopped him, and then he hit him with the cross on the other side, and it absolutely rattled him. And then John is now able to add even more dynamic weapons to what he's doing with these spinning back kicks. The first of which, I think he threw 2 or 3 of those. The first one for sure missed. Obviously, that last one, fucking devastating, hitting Stipe in the ribs. But in that first round, he was able to clinch, hit him with the Osotogari. I think he hit that on either Matyushenko or Bonner. And it's basically an outside trip. Got on top and absolutely demolished Stipe for the remainder of that round in half guard. He moved to side control. He was able to keep. People talked about what role did Gordon Ryan have, and I'm not saying that John didn't know this stuff from before, but certainly some of the finer points of pinning in some of these jiu-jitsu / MMA contexts is going to be something that Gordon Ryan is going to really, really excel at. And you saw that. There was great pinning. Stipe couldn't get up the rest of for basically the majority of the round, if not the entire round. He kind of had to lay there. That was ridiculous. John's ability to John manhandled him. He manhandled him, threw him to the ground. Osotogari gets on top, vicious elbows, good pinning, not allowing Stipe to establish any underhooks to stand, nothing like that. Took all of that away from him. So he clearly wins round 1. Well, we'll see what the judges' scorecards were in just a second, but 10-8 in my book. Second round, a little bit better for Stipe, but John did classic John things. He had use of the long guard, which he's very, very, very good at. And as I pointed out when we were watching live, the long guard for John Jones is not just good offensively, where you can kind of keep your hand at range at times, and then you saw he was able to kind of jab and then hook and then jab, and then Stipe just didn't know what was coming at him. But defensively, how much he's able to like post on a shoulder, post on the face, right? And then escape. There wasn't any eye pokes this time, although I do admit he plays a dangerous game with how he keeps his hands out there. But Stipe just couldn't put anything together. He couldn't land anything of significance. He couldn't sustain any offense on top of it. John did such a good job of just staying out of the way, whatever he needed. And because he was the one on the front foot so often, Stipe would try these blitzes, but John's got all this space behind him. He can just retreat whatever direction he wants to go, even in a straight line, although John was better about kind of cutting angles, so that was hard for Stipe to kind of follow him and then mount an attack as a consequence. And he's so good. And there's so many other things where he has that long guard and that chin comes up and he kind of rolls over it and the punches come just over the side of it. Dude, John, I mean, John Jones looked like John Jones. That was the best John Jones has looked in a long time. I mean, that's better than he looked against Santos. That's better than he looked against Anthony Smith. That's better than he looked against even Dominic Reyes. That's just, granted, we'll talk about what kind of resistance Stipe was, what was that? Like how much of a valuable victory is that? We'll see. We'll talk about that in a second. But we talked about it before. John Jones, single shot high variance. You saw total evidence of that. Shot here, jab here, hook, switching stance, jab, high kick, front kick, inside cut kick to get him square, go into the body. There was a couple of shots in the clinch he was able to land with his knee to the body. Like that's just vintage. That was vintage John Jones. That was vintage John Jones is really what that was. That was John Jones looking like himself. The closest thing I've seen to it, that was his best performance since what? Cormier 2? Right? Let me think about that. What is in terms of like just how much he looked like himself, that was, Jesus, this guy's Wikipedia entry is quite long. So, I mean, he beat up Gane, but I'm talking about like getting the fuller experience. Was it the Reyes fight? No. Santos fight? No. Smith fight? No. Second Gustafsson fight? Maybe you could say that. Either second Cormier or second Gustafsson, but that one went to 2 minutes and to the third round of that one. It's basically his best performance since either one of two of those. Again, the Gane fight didn't go very long, but you understand what I'm trying to say. That was insane. That was completely insane. He did whatever he wanted to, right? What did John try that failed? Nothing. He didn't really go for any subsequent takedowns absent the first one. When he wanted to tee off on him in southpaw, he could. When he wanted to tee off on him in orthodox, he could. When Stipe tried to blitz him, he was able to block and get out of the way of the vast majority of that. Again, you're going to get hit a little bit. It's a fight. When he wanted to take him down in the first round, he did. When he wanted to unleash hellacious ground and pound, he did. Like, he did essentially whatever he wanted to. He took his time in this one. He got he got basically 3 rounds of experience under his belt after being gone. When was the last time he fought? I'm trying to remember the dates on this one before tonight. So let's see here. Golly, it's fucking a million USADA entries here on his Wikipedia entry. So before this, it was March 2023. And then before that, it was just February 2020. So since, I mean, almost in 5 years, he has not had much octagon time. And the Cyril Gane one was such a short one, you could hardly even count it. This one, he ran over him. He just absolutely ran over Stipe. Did every single thing he could have possibly wanted to. He clearly prepared well. He clearly was in good shape. His team clearly got him ready. No question about it. Jon Jones looked awesome. There's really no other way to describe it. Now, it is probably worth asking what kind of ability Stipe even had coming into tonight. It's hard to say on one level because he got his shit rocked so early that he was fighting out of an insane deficit. He looked to me about the same / slightly worse-ish than he did against Francis Ngannou, right? Where he got hurt several times in that fight, was kind of able to like hold on for a little bit, and then just got, completely put out, and then the fight was over. Like that, there was all that was to it. He looked about the same-ish as that, maybe a little bit older and a little bit worse. I know what they were trying to sell was that this was the greatest light heavyweight and now the heavyweight champion versus like the greatest heavyweight. This would decide the greatest heavyweight of all time or the greatest of all time. While there is simply no denying that Jon Jones looked fantastic. You have to give him credit. There's just no other way to describe that. I do wonder that we have to understand who this was. This was a 42-year-old Stipe who hadn't fought in almost 4 years and won in almost 5. The idea that that was the best heavyweight available to him to face, like, I don't think so. He lasted longer than Gane, but I just don't believe that that's like the very best available heavyweight challenge to him, which of course I'm not even sure what else to say. You know what? Before we go on to what's next, let's look at some of these numbers. I don't want to get it too ahead of myself. So let's take a look at this dude. He beat the fuck out of him. Look at dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. Look at this stat line. Look at this stat line. This is crazy. Look at this stat line from Jon Jones. Let me make sure this is the most like up-to-date one. Okay, yes, it is. Holy shit. He gets credited with a knockdown. That's 1. 96 of 119 significant strikes landed, an 80% rate. That's like comically high. He landed 104 of attempted 128 strikes. He gets credited with a takedown, and he had 3 minutes and 51 seconds of control time. Let's look per round. Dude, look at this from Stipe. He landed 6 strikes in round 1. 16, that was better in round 2. But in round 3, the fight just simply got away from him at that point. And he got hit, obviously, with that the back kick to the ribs, and he closed the show. This is stat line dominance in every way. Look at the variety. Now, it did a bit of head hunting here from Jon. 72% to the head, 16% to the body, 10% to the leg. I don't even know what to say about Stipe's targeting. It doesn't really tell us much. Let me look at some of his other targeting. So what's another one we can look at that would make semi-close-ish comparisons? There's really nothing quite like this one. Let's go to the Gustafsson one. Let's see what his targeting was in that one. Yeah, Jon did much less targeting to the head there. Look at that. 44%, 25, and then 30 versus this one, 72, 16, and 10. So he was hunting the head here a little bit, but probably with very good reason. Why not? Like, why not? Oh, let me show you this one too. Let's take a look at this one if I can. Look at this dude's stat line. So these are overall career statistics for Jon Jones. Strikes landed per minute, 4.29. Strikes absorbed, 2.2. Absurd. Striking accuracy, 57%. That's above average. Striking defense, 64%, very high. Takedown per 15 minutes, almost 2, which is a good number. It's not, crazy high, but it's when weighed against everything else, it's yet another high marker. Takedown accuracy, 45%. Again, that's about right for anybody elite. Takedown defense, 95%, sub-average. And he almost went for 1 there. That's the other part, too. When he had him in top control, he had Stipe guessing, do I fire the underhook and risk getting Kimura'd or, armbarred or something? Or do I have to go back to the mat? Like, he was switching between getting potentially submitted or at least the threatening of a submission, or pick just getting pounded on. And I guess he obviously just kind of elected to kind of get pounded on a little bit more because he could grab the wrist or, collar tie or whatever he could do to hold on here. Dude, this was a fucking ass kicking of epic proportion. As I said it before, that's the best Jon Jones has looked in a long time. I think you cannot divorce that from one fact, which is that this was a really strong performance from Jon, because it looked like a lot of things came together to enable him just on his side to be able to be this good. He had the right weight, it seemed like. He had the right camp preparation. He's got great coaches, the whole 9 yards. On the other hand, as well, Stipe, I just don't think was really going to be capable of mounting a fierce resistance at age 42. And you have to kind of count that. He wasn't in the rankings really at any point because he'd been so inactive. He just retired. Kind of consider that. So it leads us to what is next. And for me, it was horrific that he was out there trying to lay the groundwork for not having to fight Tom Aspinall if he wanted to continue, so he could take a fight with Alex Pereira. And I made a video this week saying, Dana kind of narrowed his choices, right? Dana was like, no, we're not going to let you do that. So it's either retire or fight this guy. And then Jon, to his credit, had said, we're going to see how I look. If I feel good, I'll do another one again. I don't know how much better that one could have gone. I guess it could have been shorter, but that was about as close to a best case scenario as you're going to get. It's pretty goddamn close. So it leaves Jon with an option to retire or fight again. But when you look that good, what else is there to say, right? A fight against Poatan at this stage is a waste of time. Can we see that now? It's a waste of time. Yes, if Jon stands with the guy for long periods of time, Poatan's going to finish anybody. If you give him enough time, he's going to beat just about anybody, especially if he's not drained all the way down to 185, right? But I'm sorry, if we want to grant that coming off an injury and everything else, this was the right fight for Jon, which is very debatable. But if we want to say that, you can't go back now and try and fight Poatan. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. He would whoop Poatan. He would whoop him. Can we see that now? Can everybody see that now? Can we all agree that would be a waste of time? Not saying there wouldn't be some point where maybe you want to see it. He gets a little bit older, he doesn't have any time left. Dana's stipulation was fight Aspinall. If you beat that, then you can go and fight Poatan. Fine. I don't even care. Who else would be another contender you could fight at that point? Aspinall. The only fights that would make sense for Jon to fight would be Aspinall or Ngannou, and I don't think they're going to do any cross promotion with PFL, right? That's just really not going to happen. So this is the only one. The Aspinall fight, as I argued this week, is a better fight. And this week, I was like, well, it's a 50-50 fight. I would say, based on this performance, I would favor Jon to beat him. But it's obviously a guy like Aspinall is going to offer up, we think, in all likelihood, stiffer resistance, right? He's going to be quicker. He's going to be more athletic. He's going to be, I think, heavier-handed because he's going to be able to deliver punishment relatively easily as a consequence, right? Or, based on his athletic gifts. That is the fight to make. Not just because it's the right fight to make and the only fight to really make. It's a better fight to make. It's a better fight to make. Tom Aspinall is the only guy in the UFC that they have at this point that is going to be able to offer, we think, any kind of resistance, especially if Jon is looking like that. Cyril Gane fight didn't tell us a whole lot one way or the other, except Gane fought terribly. But now you can see a much bigger picture. And Jon's got a lot of skills and he's got a lot of ability to fight left. It is a waste of time to even argue for that. So now that his options have been constrained and he can't even make an argument for ducking, he really only has, from what Dana has said this week, one option. It's not only the only option and the best option for the division, it's the best fight they can make at heavyweight. Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, especially after everything went down this week, is going to be a huge fight whenever they make it at some point in 2025. It's going to be a mega fight. Ginormous. Who doesn't want to see that? Who is saying that that's a waste of time? That is the fight to make. That's the best fight at heavyweight. That's a title unification. This is all I ever wanted. This is it. This is what I wanted. Not so much, I didn't have any particular dog in the fight in terms of the outcome here. But if Jon emerged victorious, this is it. It's important. If you can't get up for a title unification at heavyweight between this surging contender / now champion, basically, he's interim champion, Tom Aspinall, and this version of John Jones, what are we doing? What are we doing? Well, it doesn't make any sense. This is the fight. This is the one. So we can put, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do in negotiation, but given that the options have been constrained and we don't have to worry about the Poatan stuff anymore, we can move on, I hope, from all the ducking stuff, and we can just focus on this now. John got what he wanted out of this experience. He got the win. He looked amazing doing it. He told the crowd he didn't mention Aspinall by name, but that he wanted to keep fighting. Aspinall's the interim champion. He's the only guy at heavyweight that makes sense. If John smokes him, dude, I don't even care what John does after that. You want to fight Poatan? Fight Poatan. You want to do whatever. He'll have earned it at that point. I don't care. But trying to bypass Aspinall, given what's available at heavyweight and given what Aspinall represents, I hope everyone can see now that is the only fight that makes sense. And I think John should probably be modestly favored to win it. What else is there to say about that? What else is there to say? John Jones is right now the UFC heavyweight champion, and you can now make an argument, even though Stipe is not the stiffest resistance, that that's the best heavyweight that they have on the roster, unless Aspinall's got something to say about it, which I'm sure he does. Let's see those two rumble. Let's see that. And as I mentioned on Friday's MK, what would a win over Aspinall mean for John's career? That would be one of the very best wins of his career. Not the best. I don't think it'd be the best, but it'd be one of the very best of his career. And if you could end your career at a bare minimum, end the heavyweight run, or because, maybe he'll have to drop the belt to fight Poatan, or I don't know how that would work at that point, but don't even care at that point. At that point, you can go fight whoever you want. I will say zip if he fights Tom Aspinall, and obviously if he wins. It's the best fight they can make. Arguably, no, it's not the best fight they can make on the roster, but it's one of the most important fights they can make in the history of that heavyweight division. It's one of the most important ones. I hope we can all see that now. It's not a better fight, John versus Poatan. Did you see how he just took Stipe off of his feet so easily with that Osotogari? Like it was nothing. You think Poatan's going to stop that guy's takedowns? What are we talking about here? No. But if he fights Aspinall and beats him, who cares? Who cares at that point, right? Who cares? Amazing performance by John Jones. Amazing, amazing performance. Let's get that title unification locked in somewhere in 2025. That's going to be freaking awesome if that ever happens. Now, let me see what you guys have here. Oh, yeah, by the way, if you obviously want to get in, we'll go through the card, and then we'll get to some of the stuff in the super chat. So, for example, let's see. Here we go. Sketchy says, as much as we can all genuinely criticize Jones, and we all can, the guy clearly has fought mental demons his entire career. That's true. I don't know what else is. Some of this is kind of weird, the rest of it. But anyway, you get the idea. Throw those in there, and then we'll take a look at it. But tonight absolutely belongs to John Jones. He earned it. I have zero issue giving him credit for it. I did not think this was the toughest opponent he could fight by a million miles. But in terms of the variety of weapons, as I mentioned before, that was vintage John Jones. Vintage. He looked sensational tonight. He earned it. I'll give guys credit, man. When they earn it, I'll give it to them. I don't have any problem. All right. We'll come back to this with any kind of questions you might have. It was so one-sided. I don't even know what to say. Oh, where does this leave us with the career of Stipe Miocic? Does he go down as the best UFC heavyweight of all time? That argument was based off of title defenses, and because he had 3, he would hold the record. So, like for John, this would be the first title defense. If he beats Aspinall, that would be 2. I guess if he fought Poatan, that would be 3. But because of his record of achievement at light heavyweight and now what he did, again, he did not fight in anything close to a prime Stipe tonight, but nevertheless, he looked tremendous doing it. So I don't know where that would put John as like all-time heavyweights. You have to have a bigger resume. But for Stipe, he probably still would hold on to the title as like the most decorated UFC champion that they have at heavyweight, right? Because of the 3 title defenses. And I don't know that a win like this reasonably pushes John. Does a win like this, as good as it was because of the opponent quality, does it really change the debate over GOAT? Most people would probably already have him there. Would like this get them over the line? Probably not, even though it was such a good performance. The opponent quality doesn't do a whole lot. I'm going to guess that based on some of the hectoring from Dana White, that this will move John up in the pound-for-pound rankings. So I would suspect that by Tuesday, because they don't do it on Monday, he'll be back at number 1 pound for pound, which again is a very debatable claim, but just given the ability, given the skills and the depth of ability, I sort of understand it, but I just don't feel like a win should necessarily, whenever a 42-year-old guy who's on the verge of retirement should put you there. But I suspect he'll move there, and I don't really care anymore. So that part is fine. We'll come back to discussing some of his implications, but yeah, with a win like this, if he will probably climb the pound for pound rankings, John will. If he fights Aspinall, fantastic. And I think Aspinall's got a lot of holes in his game. We said that on Friday's MK. He's got a lot of things going in favor of him. He's got incredible athletic gifts. He can cover distance so well. John's not going to have a speed advantage over him by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think he's going to have the foot speed or the hand speed, but he's definitely going to have the experience edge, and he's definitely going to have the overall skills edge. And then, Aspinall's got that chin in the air pretty frequently. We'll come back to this when we get to the Q&A portion of the post-fight show. All right. That out of the way. In your co-main event, Charles Oliveira defeating Michael Chandler 49-46, 49-46, and 49-45. Man, what's the story of this fight? We watched it live together. Charles Oliveira out wrestling Michael Chandler and then out grappling him is really the story of this one. They traded back and forth with Charles getting the majority of the best of that, with not counting the 5th round rally that Chandler had. We'll get to the 5th round rally in a second, but I'm talking about the overall complexion of the fight. Charles Oliveira getting the trap dump to get him down, getting the broomstick takedown to get him down, just kind of finding ways to get the takedown or find the back. He had mount for a long time, dude. He ran a grappling clinic on the guy for the first 4 rounds. Now, we talked about it before. He was kind of holding to some positions without a ton of ground and pound for long stretches of a couple of different rounds, which I did not love. I would have liked the referee to have kind of, asked a little bit more. But when someone has back or mount, referees just don't really do that hardly at all. So take that for what it's worth. 5th round, we said it at the outset. All Charles had to do was just not take a big shot. Just avoid the big shot, and you'll win this. And then what happened? He got hit with a huge punch, and he got hit with several huge punches, nearly finished off. Now, Michael Chandler was going for some hammer fists that were of questionable targeting. I'd have to go back and look to see exactly how bad it was. My memory was that it wasn't great. But either way, Charles found a way to eventually get back to guard, hang on, push him off, and stand, and then was able to hold on to the rest of the bout. I think he got the back in the 5th round as well for a portion, and was able to just kind of ride it out and won the fight. So I give all the credit in the world to Charles Oliveira for having just a continuously improved skill set. Out wrestling Michael Chandler in those little moments was extremely impressive. Even those shots he was going for that were really far away, he was still just pushing him up against the fence line. And then, Chandler is now square with his shoulders, and was there to be picked off. Phenomenal job by Charles. That ability by Michael Chandler to not give up on himself, to land a big shot, to nearly finish, even though he was grabbing the fence a lot, which I really hated. But in general, the moxie he showed, the athletic ability he showed, great cardio he showed as well after being in mount and Charles on his back, good submission defense, much more improved submission defense at this point, right? Obviously, because, Charles had, finished him off previously, but Dustin Poirier got him with that rear naked choke, right? It's one of his best moves. And so to be able to hold on in those positions and not have to really fight out of a tremendous deficit, or just to be able to hang on and give yourself a fighting chance, quite literally a fighting chance into the 5th, extremely commendable on the part of Michael Chandler. Couldn't get the job done ultimately, but you have to ask yourself, where do they go from here? In the case of Charles Oliveira, I think the world's his oyster at this point at lightweight, right? The world is his oyster at lightweight. He can take on Max Holloway for the BMF belt. He can get the winner of Arman and Islam. Either one of those is a rematch, whatever he wants to do. Michael Chandler called out Conor, who I don't think is going to want to do a lot. I don't know what, who the fuck knows what Conor's going to do? I mean, who the fuck knows? But I feel like Chandler still made a decent account of himself. That 5th round rally, people are going to remember that. And you know he's going to be good for action. You know he's going to be good for excitement. And you know he's going to be competitive still with a lot of guys. They might put him in there with Max Holloway for the BMF belt. They might put him in there with Dan Hooker. They might do another one with Dustin Poirier. There's all kinds of different options for both of those guys. I'm not going to say that Mike raised his stock necessarily with this loss. I don't think that's quite right. But I feel like he raised his he made sure people remembered he's still a viable guy to put in there for big fun fights against important other members of the lightweight division. You're still going to get, there's still a lot of value in putting him in bouts of consequence like that. And so I think you probably will see that. Let me take a look at some of these numbers for him if I can here. Let's see. Excuse me. Whoops. Take a look at some of these numbers for Charles. I mean, the story is pretty, Jesus, look at some of this. This is crazy. Look at this. For Charles on the top line, Michael Chandler on the secondary line. He credited with 2 submission attempts. They were not that close. Some of the rear naked chokes and the triangles, not that close. But look at the control time, 14:52. That is a shitload. The striking ended up almost being even, in part because there was that blitz. Let's see how much of it was the 5th round. Yeah, 40 in the 5th round. That was a big part of it. And plus, Charles didn't do a whole lot for a couple of these rounds. Round 1, he didn't do a whole lot. Round 4, he didn't do a whole lot, right? 11 in the first round, 14 in the second. So the striking numeric totals roughly equivalent. But look at this: 5 of 12 takedowns, 5 takedowns on 12 attempts. I would have never imagined that before the fight. If you had told me he was going to get 5 takedowns on 12 attempts and Michael Chandler would be 0 for 1, I didn't think Chandler would necessarily go for takedowns, but I didn't think Oliveira was going to do that. Let's see the percentage here of the targeting. You saw a fair amount to the body, to the leg was a big one as well. He was landing good stuff to the gut up as well, but they're both kind of headhunters in that particular regard. And look at this rally, which would be the blue here for Michael Chandler in the 5th round right here. That's insane. That's insane. But you could see, like, even in round 4 where he had the back, it wasn't like a huge amount of offense. 2 and 3 were, 1 and 4, a lot of positional control. I think round 1 was a lot of positional control. Yeah, 3 minutes, 31 seconds. I mean, look at this. 3:31 in round 1, 2:48, 3:11, 3:55, a little bit more even in the 5th. Obviously, that's where Chandler did his best work. And he gets they credit him with they did credit him. Oh, let's see. That's interesting. They credit him with a takedown here. Oh, that's Charles Oliveira, excuse me. Charles got a takedown in every round. 1 of 2, 1 of 1, 1 of 3, 1 of 3, 1 of 3. Charles Oliveira got a takedown in every single round on Michael Chandler. He got a takedown on every single round. Impressive. Absolutely impressive. A great showing, a great rematch that you knew was going to be a great rematch. About that, we had a strong sense that was going to be deliver on a card that maybe we thought didn't have necessarily the greatest fights ever. I feel like John Jones delivered as best he possibly could. I don't know what else you could really ask from him given the circle. What you can ask from him is fucking fight Tom Aspinall. But beyond that, tonight, he did everything he possibly could. Chandler and Oliveira, I think, in general, gave you pretty much everything they possibly could. In that sense, it really delivered. And again, I think creates some unique opportunities. And for a guy like Charles Oliveira, also, one thing to remind ourselves is, you know, he didn't look great necessarily against Arman Tsarukyan, but in this fight, man, he had a squirmy, explosive opponent who can scramble really well. So he didn't really open up when he had some of those control positions. But I didn't see a guy in decline. Not really. I mean, you could maybe argue because he didn't open up in some of those grappling situations, he's not the same guy as he was before. I don't really buy that. I still feel like he looked really, really viable. And a second fight against Islam might go very differently. And a second fight against Arman might go differently. Arman nearly got subbed in their first fight in the first round. And that one was only 3 rounds. This one will be 5. I'm imagining any kind of rematch, right? So a really big rejuvenating performance for Charles Oliveira and something of a redemptive performance, especially given the time off for Michael Chandler as well. I think it's pretty clear he's not the best lightweight that they have, but in Chandler, but he is exciting. He will give you what he's got. He'll go out on his shield, and he improved during this time off as well. Both guys, it looked to me, had been working and improving since the first time they fought, and you got a fantastic fight between two veterans in was maybe the best division that the UFC has. Bo Nickal. This was an interesting one. Bo Nickal defeating Paul Craig 30-27 across the board. Okay. All right. So Bo Nickal, did he look impressive? Well, not in the way that Jones did or not in the way that Charles did for the majority of it or something like that. No, I would not say that. But he did get something valuable out of this experience. He got 3 full rounds of time in the octagon. That is valuable. He got to do it without ever having to go for a takedown. That is valuable. It looked to me like he really wanted to be patient. Like if a big shot landed and he could finish the guy off, he would take it. But if it didn't, fine. Be patient. Let the fight go. Getting cage time like that, especially the stage of the career he's in, very valuable. Someone like Jones, very different. You kind of want to minimize the amount of cage time because of wear and tear and age and everything else. Bo Nickal's in a very different position. However, did he throw a single jab? I don't even know. I don't even know what to say about that. I don't think he threw a single jab. It was overhand lefts and some overhand rights. And it was like a lot of foot feinting and like level changing. And there was some body work to bring the hands down and then come over the top. And they landed a little bit more as the fight went on. But he had a real hard time closing distance. So he had to blitz at times. And again, some of that worked a little bit later. There was a couple of shots that landed in the third round that really kind of rocked Paul Craig, especially later. Remember, he put his hand up over his eye. There was definitely some of that along the way. At the same time, it looks to me like trying to rush him up the contendership queue because you want to see him against Khamzat to see how the wrestling would go would be a mistake. It looks to me like there's just a lot of his game that is still very much in development. Now, his wrestling is going to be grade A, and maybe if he had tried to wrestle, he would have looked good and he could have passed outside of the guard of Paul Craig and he could have beaten him up, but it looked to me like he was making a concerted effort to win a certain way unless disaster struck and he had to go to his wrestling. So I think there's ways in which he played this actually correctly, but he did not necessarily impress in the process. And in fact, I think what he showed is there was a valuable exercise at play here, but he has to do different things if he wants to really be fighting like top contenders in this division soon. He's got work to do. For Paul Craig, I'm not sure what to say. I think he made a strong account of himself. He looked, obviously, he always looks big in the weight class, but he looked a little bit more muscular this time. It was a good test for Bo Nickal. It was a much better test for Bo Nickal than I thought. I thought Bo Nickal was going to blow the doors off of him, but it didn't happen that way because Bo Nickal's ability to manage distance just seems like it's a real big problem. So he has to kind of rush in. And when you rush in with these big shots, someone else is going to tear you up for that. Now, of course, other guys won't have the kind of submission prowess, particularly from guard, that a guy like Paul Craig does. So he's going to be able to maybe go for the wrestling more easily in the future. But you can see if the wrestling is not available for whatever reason, either he can't get it, imagining that, or he doesn't want to get it because there's some kind of threat and he has to resort to just his striking. There's a lot that he's still green. There's just a lot there that is not really ready for prime time. Yeah. So I'd like to see a lot of that worked out. Give him somebody incremental from here. They put him as a minus 1,200. You heard the crowd chanting, was it overrated? Something like that to him. Again, they pushed him so hard and he looked the goods early on, but it's become pretty clear now that building the solid base of his game, a little bit longer to go, even if this was a valuable experience for him to get to that place. That's really my takeaway from this one. This was the right kind of performance, even though I don't think people loved it. It was the right kind of fight, the right kind of fight to make going forward. But to build out that future, but it wasn't altogether all that impressive. I don't know what to say about Viviane Araújo defeating Karine Silva. She wins 29-28 across the board. A bit of a shakeup in the women's flyweight rankings based on this one. I think. Well, let me pull up the rankings here if I can. See where they at. I don't have a whole lot to say on this bout. I don't think people are super interested in it anyway. But at women's flyweight, let's see where the rankings were at. At women's flyweight, let's see. Karine Silva was sitting at 11. Araujo was sitting at 9. This will move her up a little bit, but there's still so many people in front of her. I'm not exactly sure where it would go. Put about maybe somebody in the top 5-ish. Natalia Silva, maybe Macy Barber, or something like that. I don't have a strong opinion about this, what happened in this fight, one way or the other. And then to open the card, Mauricio Hufi. They kept saying Rufi. I don't know how to properly pronounce it. Defeating, and I didn't know it was pronounced. I didn't know this guy was from Peru. My mistake. James Yontop. The two L's become a Y, or as my wife would say it, like a J. I'm going to say Y, so everyone doesn't get on my case about it. But Hufi versus Yontop. Again, there was a weight issue. Yontop missed it. There was a lot of short notice stuff here. It was a catch weight of 166.2. Hufi looks like he's got so much razzle dazzle to his game. That look away uppercut was absolutely incredible. I mean, or hook kind of shovel punch that he threw was ridiculous. I mean, it was amazing how he's able to do that. But he kind of slowed down over the course of the rounds. I don't know how that would go against a wrestler type. And sort of more to the point, like it does look to me like that razzle dazzle is nice, but he ends up waiting around a little bit as the fight goes on. And I just feel like having a little bit more of a foundationally core game that you can build to create and sustain attacks rather than fighting in spurts. Those spurts are incredible because he can pull out of the way and then counter guys and look amazing in the process. But at the same time, man, he looks awesome. He looks awesome. Please don't misunderstand me. He looks awesome. But he too has, I think, some developmental concerns in terms of how far he can go when the bread and butter of the game is missing a little bit. He's got all the razzle dazzle, but not some of the other parts that make winning consistently a little bit more available to you, especially as you move up the food chain. I saw people making comparisons to Michel Pereira. I don't know how fair that is. I saw people making comparisons to like Johnny Walker. He's better than those guys. I definitely think he's better than those guys. He's certainly slicker. He does the bit where the punch comes and then he turns and it goes past him. Like, that's hard to do. Tank Davis does stuff like that. And I'm not saying he's as good as Tank Davis, but I'm saying you have to have really good ability to roll with a punch by turning your head. That is a very, very difficult thing to time and get right. And he's able to do that, certainly at the UFC level. That's impressive. He's got impressive skills. Those Fighting Nerds guys are amazing. But you can see if you've got a determined opponent, even one who was, coming on a short notice and missed weight and everything else, and he has this guy's like 0-3 in the octagon. It's not like he's got a super winning record. You would imagine you like start moving up the food chain. Some of that razzle dazzle is just not going to be available to him, and it's going to be a bit of a problem as a consequence. So I would say, for me, I like the guy. He's fun to watch. Let's see how things go. We don't need to rush anything, but there are some pieces of the game missing a little bit. Before we get to any of your questions, let's quickly mention something. Jim Miller gets a win over Damon Jackson via guillotine choke, 2:44 of the first round. Damon Jackson retired. I think Damon Jackson had a very commendable career. He fought really tough guys, and he had some good wins along the way. I give I shout him out to Damon Jackson. And then to Jim Miller, man, 45th UFC fight and gets a guillotine. Incredible what he's able to do. Again, really core fundamental skills, and also accepting a certain place in the pecking order in the food chain that's more commensurate with his abilities today, rather than trying to fight the top guys and then losing. I would also say some great wins by Oban Elliott over Basil Hafez, and then Ramiz Brahimai against Mickey Gall. Two great wins there as well. And a good fight, by the way, between Onama and Romero. All right. What questions do you have? Please let me know. Let's see what you got here, and then we'll go through it. All right. B. Gutierrez. Luke, that hairline of yours is strong, very powerful. Also, Jake showed Tyson mercy. Yeah, he showed him some. That doesn't fully explain why that bout went the distance. Ben says, Hereditary is the name of the movie. Oh, what are we fundamental differences between MMA and boxing? Can we come back to this one? It's a nice donation. Boxing seems to be lacking in MMA, maybe because it's the wider base for MMA takedown defense. Boxing allows you to get closer to an opponent, which is why it has increased value. But obviously, it's much harder to avoid taking damage when you get closer because now you're much more in range. But it also sets up takedowns too. But the point about boxing is it enables me to get to a space where I can, yes, you have to be careful because you can get hit more, but you can do a lot more dealing as well. That is something why I think you're seeing a lot of interest in boxing in MMA. Pablo says, is John carrying Stipe after 2 rounds? No. He's taking his time. He was hunting his prey very slowly. Alan W. says, Stipe looked like Tyson in there. This blows. That fight, we didn't need to see this fight. I mean, if John needed it to get right before fighting before fighting Aspinall, if he needed this as like the confidence boost to get him to stop calling out Poatan, fine. I'll live with it on that level. But yeah, it didn't need to happen. Mitch says, okay, Aspinall flatlines Jones. I've seen enough. I don't know why y'all would say that. OG McGee, it's duck, duck, goat time. Okay. F this fight. Damn embarrassing. I wouldn't call it embarrassing. I would not call it that. Michael says, after this weekend, people older than 39 years old should not be allowed to compete in combat sports. LOL. Bring on Aspinall. Aspinall is just, again, I said it this week. Trying to call out Poatan was fucking, you were trying to duck. UFC put the kibosh on that, so we can move on from that. And he was waiting to see how he looked. He looked fucking awesome. You have to just say it. A fight against Aspinall is so much better than a fight against Poatan. He's not going to stand there with Poatan, guys. You guys know he's not going to do that. Alan W. Stipe is shot as F UFC 4 this fight. Yeah, he's shot. After that, I think he beats Tom. Oh, after the Jones win? Yeah. Dude, at worst, what did we say on MK? What did we say on MK on Friday? What did we say? 50-50. People keep thinking we wanted John to fight Tom because we thought, oh, well, John's going to lose. No. Because a title unification is important, and that's the only guy that can even threaten him. 50-50. Or maybe you might lean John a little bit more now, but like that's the only guy. There's nobody else. Antoine, thank you for everything you do. Well, thank you, Antoine. Eat a bag of D, Jones in UFC. I don't know what that's all about. Okay. Paul says, looked awesome. This was target practice. Tom could have beat both those guys tonight, one after the other. Commentary eerily similar to last night. Old guys just can't do anything because they're old. You don't think John looked awesome? Am I missing something? Okay, I know what you're saying. I'm agreeing with you. The level of competition makes it more possible for John to look awesome. But John didn't look old. John didn't look shot. John didn't look like he didn't have mobility. John looked to me fantastic. Again, against a very questionable quality opponent, given the state that Stipe is in. We're not talking about his heyday. We're talking about today. Fine. But I didn't think like John in any way looked bad. Ngannou beats Jones. I wish we could find out. I don't know. Those are the fights to make. Fighting Poatan or Derek. Can you imagine him? Can you imagine? Hold on a second. Hold on. Can you imagine John fighting Derek Lewis? What the fuck are we talking about? That's insane. That's a waste of everybody's time. Do you understand what I'm saying now? It's not that I ever thought John was scared. You never heard those words leave my lips, ever. Never happened. But I did think he was trying to hedge on his way out the door. And that was my major objection. That I did not like. It was to unify it was the only fight that made sense for the heavyweight division. It was the only fight that frankly even makes sense for John at this point. Like, give me a break, people. That was the part that I just could not stand. Aqua says, John definitely looks older, but his ability to split timing is unmatched. Yes, he didn't look like prime Jones, but he looked like vintage Jones, right? You could see the old Jones in him, or the young, whatever, the older versions of John. With his speed at heavyweight, it makes the idea of a Tom fight way more interesting. Yes, way interesting. Curious how tonight changed your view on heavyweight Jones. Yeah, you guys kind of got a sense of it. I feel like I can't wait to see John fight Tom. It's the only heavyweight fight that would be awesome. It's the only one. The rest of heavyweight is kind of like a barren mess. That's the fight to make. That is the one. That's like one of my most anticipated fights on the calendar for me. Alan W. Jones, Colby Covington now? I don't know. That's a little much, guys. LOL Jones saying everything but the name of Tom Aspinall, saying, I'll see what Uncle Dana wants, is a cop-out response. Okay, listen. If he ends up fighting Tom, that's all I care about. I don't care about anything else. Trying to lay the groundwork for a Poatan fight was what I objected to, because that is just fucking... We know the score. We know the score. But if that has been removed, because Dana, before the fight, was like, yeah, fuck no, we're not doing that, then it's... And he will fight Aspinall? Fine. From Stipe. Oh, yeah, we're going to kill Stipe on the way up. The dude just got whooped. Let's take it easy on Stipe, all right? Alex, the reluctance to throw was obvious in both tonight and last night's main events. I don't know, dude. John was patient. I agree he was patient, but I wouldn't say he looked... A reluctance to throw is the sign of a shot fighter. Did John look shot to you? Am I taking crazy pills? Do you guys think John looked like shit or something? I didn't think... Like, what am I not understanding here? Did John look awful to you guys? He looked awesome to me. Again, against this kind of an opponent, okay, we can grade on however we need to grade it, but like just what we saw. Did you guys see somebody like look like shit? I didn't see that. The commentator sounded like the commentators doing the Tyson fight yesterday, coming to a realization what the public knew. A mismatch from the beginning. Yes, it was definitely a mismatch. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate it. Blake, would have watched more Trump rallies if I knew they were this good. That's a good zing. That's a good zing. I don't know how to pronounce this gentleman's name. I'm going to call him Jean. I know Stipe was ripped, but he did not look like a guy who wanted to be there to me. Of course he didn't. Highly doubt he himself expected to win. Money was money, I guess. He got one more shot on his way out the door. You know, whatever. He's done. Complaining about him is over, you know. Keith, who gets beat up more tonight? Okay, guys. Okay. I can't read the rest of that question. Okay. I appreciate the donation, but I can't do that. The Spaghetti Guy. Joe Rogan trying to push Alex Pineda 3 times to Tom's one mention was flat out gross. Yes. What the fuck are we doing? I'll say it again. Can everyone finally see John Jones versus Tom Aspinall is the only fucking fight to make? It's the only one. Or Ngannou, but of course, you know the story. Does booing Bo, Will asks, and cheering Tommy mean that they, the donks, are getting a bit rebellious towards UFC propaganda? I mean, in defense of Dana was the one who was like, yeah, you're not fighting you're not fighting Pereira. Not next. You're fighting Tom Aspinall. Like, Dana was the one that said that. I was the one pitching a fit, being like, he's trying to fucking duck here. And Dana was the one who was like, yeah, no. So it's like, okay, have they pushed Bo a little hard and people don't like that? Yes. But John was the one trying to set up the Poatan fight. Dana was the one who was like, yeah, no chance. I give UFC credit. I give Dana credit for that. What are the chances, Brandon asks, in your opinion, that Trump names John Jones as a member of his cabinet? Secretary of Homeland Security. Unlikely, but always possible. Always possible. JBJ using Jesus to duck Aspinall. Okay, he can't duck, guys. He was laying the groundwork for it all week. Hence my apoplectic fucking posts. He was laying the groundwork for it. But we don't have to worry about that, we think, because Dana put the kibosh on that. So we don't have to worry about the ducking. The question is, like, when they're going to make the fight. That fight was straight ass. I knew that would happen. How was an old, withered Stipe going to win that? Jones needs to fight Tom, not Pereira, a striker. We can all see it now. Matt, this was a complete waste of our time. Stipe started looking old 4 years ago. Do Bronx is an animal. Credit to Chandler for his 5th round defiance. I won't argue too much of that. Complete waste of our time is a little strong, but still. Alan W. Giving Jones too much credit. Stipe equals I'm giving Jones. How is it I am giving John too much? Am I fucking taking crazy pills? Guys, I get it. This was an old ass Stipe. I get it. I was the one saying we didn't need to see this fight to begin with. When they made this fight and then booked it again, I was like, what the fuck are we doing? I didn't need to see that shit. Oh, I got any text messages? Here we go. All right. I guess I'm taking crazy pills. You guys seem to think that John looked like whatever. I don't think that. I grant it was an opponent who couldn't do much of anything, but when you have an overmatched opponent, there's only so much you can really take from that. Fair. But what you're supposed to do against an overmatched opponent is fucking stunt on them. And that's what he did. How am I the guy who's like, Jones looked great, and all you guys are like, yo, fuck John. I'm like, what? I'm confused. Maybe other people feel differently. I am very confused by these responses. John looked great against an old Stipe, but I'm still not sure if he beats Ngannou or Aspinall. Fine. Totally fair take. Totally fair take. I'm not even certain he is the number 2 heavyweight in the world. These are fair responses. Could Aspinall be 1? Could Francis be 1? Could John be 3? Could John be 2? These are fine takes. I can live with that. I don't think that's crazy at all. Daniel asks, how long until UFC pay-per-views are just 3 hours of Trump cam? We're pretty fucking close. Kaushik says, fighting Stipe really masked how slow and rigid Jones looked. Okay, I must be taking crazy pills. Everybody was focused on how old Stipe was, but overlooked that Jones basically took most of round 2 off. Tommy Boy mauls him. All I can say is, can't wait to see John versus Tom. Can't wait to see it. Stipe was a punching bag, John says. Why gas John so much? Man, I am... I get that, guys. Do you guys recall me advocating a position that we didn't need to see John fight Stipe at all? Like the fight never made sense, and we didn't need to see it, but they were just going to move forward with it, and that's where we are. I understand the point. I get it. Against an overmatched opponent, you have to have a limited sense of what is really available to you. Fair. But John did everything he wanted to do. You have to grade that performance, yes, on a curve, but against an overmatched opponent, the only thing you can ask of the person who is not overmatched is you need to go in there and style on them. I felt like he did that. I guess some of you disagree. Tyson and Stipe on BC's bit for elder abuse. There might be some of that. Danny on the gas. Jones Aspinall next, since it's the only way to justify Jones Alex if Jones vacates. But Alex said that he'll only move up for a 3rd belt. They can cross that bridge when they get there. I don't even care. Jones could end up doing goat shit and beat Aspinall, then Alex. Very much on the table. We waited 1.5 years for that nonsense. Pathetic. Wow, you guys are fucking down on that fight. John looked defensively irresponsible. I don't agree at all. Dude, am I fucking crazy? This is insane. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I'm going to have to go back and watch again, but I just was like, damn, John's sluggish Aspinall movement will expose. That could be true. We'll have to see. How will the grappling play out with John and Tom? Differently than what you saw with Stipe, for sure. Differently than what you'll see with Stipe. I'm the dude, so that's what you call me. You know that, or his dudeness, or duder, or El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing. Well, thank you, friend. I appreciate that from the Big Lebowski. With Hoofy winning tonight, the Fighting Nerds camp is 12-0 this year on the men's side. Who amongst them do you think will fight for a title? You mean like first? Maybe Caio Bajalio? Proches is not, I mean, he's kicking ass too, but probably Bajalio. He's just further along. Alan W. I don't know what fight you saw, Luke. Elder abuse. I must be crazy. How much of John's decision to stay has to do with USADA not being a factor anymore? By the way, screw Trump. I suspect there's a lot of fighters who feel like they've got a little extra time now that USADA is not there. But yeah, I don't know. Good to see John celebrating, Fofo says. I'm ready for the headlines about his arrest. Oh, my God. I'm ready for the headlines about his arrest tomorrow. I'm guessing he shits on a cop car or a homeless person. Wow, you guys are not fans of. People accuse me of being a fucking Jones hater. You guys are killing him. LV Jaguar, with appreciation for outstanding hosting and to contribute to Barbas's health fund in memory of my beloved dog Jimmy. Thank you, friend. Very kind of you. David says, water weed dune hair. I guess the Reddit community is out and about today. Fiendish Shape says, what's with Chandler constantly doing dirty nonsense? Dude, the fence grabbing was driving me nuts. And there was a complaint, I don't know how real it was because I couldn't see the hand fighting, of Chandler maybe grabbing the glove as well, and then the shots to the back of the head. Yeah, that was not a disciplined performance from him. Again, I give him all the credit in the world for rallying in the fifth. That was fucking awesome. But the lack of discipline and Keith Peterson just not doing shit about it drives me nuts. OG McGee says, Jake Paul looking at Stipe with... Yeah, I mean, that's probably true. What's up, Rufus DePoodle? Welcome to the party. Rob says, we're supposed to believe this adds to John's legacy. Not much. That was pointless and awful. Jesus loves everyone, including those John committed crimes against. I'm not a religious type, so I just look the other way when they say all that shit. John looked good, but Stipe looked like shit. Fair. Totally fair. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. That's a completely fair take. Not even a top 15 heavyweight. Aspinall still wins. I don't think that's a crazy take. Nova Scotian, thank you, my friend. MK all day, much love, Luke. What's next for Chandler? Again, I don't think a BMF fight's out of the question just because of the stylistic way that it goes. A Dan Hooker fight might be there. A rematch against Dustin Poirier. And all of those sound good to me. All of those sound good to me. Great call. Paul versus Miocic got to be next. They might do that shit. Christopher C., welcome to the party. Nelly, welcome to the party. James, thank you so much. Dave says, what do you think Nickal's ceiling is? Good question. I don't think it's particularly high. I would be a little bit cautious about declaring what his ceiling is now. How old is Bo Nickal? Bo Nickal currently sits at 28. I think it would be unlikely if he never contends for a title. You saw him fight out of his entire B game today. He didn't even go to his A game. He went to his B game. And if you want to count like jiu-jitsu, maybe even his C game. So he couldn't look that impressive. But even then, I agree. There's developmental issues that really need to get worked on. He needs to take more fights and be more active. Like, we need to get him in there. Like, these long, pronounced breaks, I don't really understand what the point of that is. His ceiling. I think he will at least contend for a title. Beyond that, I can't say. I don't think it's a shoo-in he wins a title by any stretch. Matthew says, that's the best fighter of all time, without a doubt. Talking about John Jones. That is absolutely a defensible position. Quick thoughts on Paul Tyson. Dude, he gets on the mic afterwards and says, oh, I kind of carried him. Not in those words, but I kind of carried him. And I'm saying to myself, dude, that is fucking insane. You cannot sandbag and afterwards say, oh, I took it easy on him. And people are like, oh, you want to see Mike laid out? And I'm like, well, y'all booked him in a boxing match. Like, that's kind of the point. One guy gets that or not, maybe, but it's not even the point. The point is, if you sandbag and then you don't like do anything about it, you just like coast because you feel bad, you are absolving Jake. You are absolving Jake from ever having to try. No. You know, if you want to sandbag by fighting people that you're better than, then go in there and fucking whoop their ass. And if you can't get an opponent where you can feel like ethically comfortable doing that, then don't fucking make us watch. When you allow Jake to both sandbag and then have mercy, you allow him to make pointless fights that are also boring and uninteresting and mean nothing. No. Do not let him get away with that. Slippy says, thanks for the insight. I wanted to say I love the gas station hot dogs. Hey, who doesn't? Will says, Bo saying only 6 fights. Weidman was 9-0 versus Silva. Yeah, I mean, Bo's got some work to do. Staff on Stipe's chest looked gassed at the jump. He's 42, bro. What are we doing? Like, Staff is the least of his fucking problems. Short and Formal says, John Jones is a paper champion, this person writes. His only wins at heavyweight are against a man with 0 ground game and an old man. 2 dudes that lost to Ngannou. 2 dudes that, in fact, did. Yes, I agree. Which is why the only fight that makes sense is Tom Aspinall. It's the only one. Daniel says, Luke, how do you mentally deal with the visual aids that is Trump and company sitting cage side and gawked on by most of the fighters? Sport is fucked. I find it almost amusing to a degree. The answer is this. This is my answer. I liked MMA before Trump ever got here. And I'm probably going to like MMA long after Trump is gone. Trump is old, by the way. Like, this fucker's going to be the oldest guy ever inaugurated as president come January. I hope folks know that. You are not going to take fist fighting from me. Mm-mm. You're not going to take things I love from me because I find people of a different political persuasion having overrun the sport. I don't like any of that, but you're not going to take things I like from me. It's mine too. James says, can you name a prior heavyweight champ that could beat John Jones? This version of him, you mean? I wonder about a prime Cain Velasquez. I really do. I really fucking do. Is John probably the baddest man to ever exist? Oh, can get the fuck out of here with this shit. Only healthy Cain might have an argument. Strong hairline, by the way. Yeah, Cain. Cain is the one. Cain is the. I mean, if you missed Cain's prime, I don't know what to say. Cain's probably the only one. Japan Glurtube. Do you think Anik will need to dry clean his suit after calling fights from his knees? I think Anik's a big trumper. I don't know that, but I'm pretty sure. Duder says, regarding Jones, this is a very complicated case, Luke. You know, a lot of ins, a lot of outs, a lot of what have yous, and a lot of strands in my head. We're doing bits now. Okay, all right. Nico says, man, remember when Dana was proud to say he was keeping politics out of the UFC? Yeah, those days are fucking dead, folks. Dead and gone. Over. Henry says, how would this version of John Jones have done against a prime Fedor? Fedor a little small and not great takedown defense. Cain, I think, would have been a different one. Cain's volume, good wrestling, I mean, good chin, everything. And a prime Verdum, I think Verdum would have gotten teed off on. Have a great night. Casey says, John's runaway reset seems impossible to counter. Well, if you're not constraining him, if he is leading and then you blitz him out. Look, if we're here, right? If we're here and you try and blitz, this person can just move all this space. But now imagine the role is reversed. Now imagine this is John and this is the opposite. If you can push into him, he only has so many different ways to go. But that was not the case tonight. So yeah, when he's got a long guard and he's able to move out of the way, there's nothing else you can do. The disrespect to Stipe is wild, calling UFC fighters old is disrespectful. Did anyone call Glover old when he won the title? Yes. Glover was also old. Jake says, Rogan was straight carrying water for the Poatan fight and would barely say Aspinall's name. John's weird Trump support at the end was chameleon behavior. I'm not sure what the chameleon part references, but okay. Kalon says, can you elaborate on why this performance in Jones gives you more confidence in him versus Aspinall? He looked awesome against Stipe, who looked awful. Fine. Good question. Aspinall could reach his chin 100%. No question about it. It's a great question. I appreciate the donation. Let me ask it. I didn't know what we had against Gon. John looked like a bad version of himself at the end of his light heavyweight run. He looked bad against Santos. He looked bad against Smith. I mean, Smith was kind of one-sided, but didn't look great. He looked really bad against Reyes. And then he takes all this time off, and then he fights Gon, and the fight's like a fucking minute or whatever it was. I just didn't know what we had. Was he still on this decline from light heavyweight? Was he somewhat rejuvenated? I would argue he does look all of 37, but he does look like he still has most of his skills. His wrestling, folks forget this. At the end of his light heavyweight run, John's wrestling deteriorated. You saw a little bit more of it. The Osotogari was nice. I mean, that was nice. Like that kind of thing, even against a very old Stipe, you know, just as a tune-up opportunity, this is going to get him in a better place to fight Aspinall. So again, you have to grade on a curve. I hope everyone understands that. You have to grade on a curve. But at the same time, John showing you athletic ability with some of those spinning back kicks, with the Osotogari, very controlled wrestling, good top pins, dynamite ground and pound. Yeah, Stipe looked old like shit. He didn't look Mike Tyson old, but he looked old. But John still had access to a lot of his tools. And I thought a lot of that had already been chipped, or I wondered, I should say, that a lot of that had been chipped away. I hope one day you and Jones end up together in older age. Dude, I have no interest in ever talking to him ever again. There has to be something more behind this built-up frustration between you two. No. He didn't like it when I gave him nice coverage. I mean, he can just deal with the kind of coverage I give him now. When he was trying to that bullshit this week about fighting Poatan, and I fucking had none of it. I don't regret any of that. Zero. Fuck no. What a waste of it. You already, I mean, arguably was a waste to fight. I think it'll be valuable for John to have this performance under his belt, but it was a waste of our time. This fight didn't need to happen. Why was Stipe the number one contender? Why? I've already made this argument a million times. But anyway, what's worse, seeing Tyson's cheeks or the beating Stipe got? I had no desire to see fucking Mike Tyson's ass cheeks. What a bad weekend. Love your work. Keep up the great work. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Ryan says, John versus Alex is a waste of time. Yes, it is. I'd rather Tyson's whole ass again than a one-sided mess. Kalon says, I just feel like he wouldn't have looked this versus an explosive, quick, active, confident Aspinall. Of course not. Of course not. He would not look like this. I mean, at least in all likelihood, he wouldn't look like this. But that's the point. That's why you want to see them fight. How exactly does that work when they have to go up against one another? I was referring to Tyson and Stipe. I thought John looked prime. Prime, he did not look, but he looked, he looked like he had access to all of his many weapons. Brandon says, everybody is so scorned from what they watched last night. It's confusing them on what they saw tonight. It seems like people are like telling me like this fight was worthless and shit. John says, I've been seeing that with John defending the belt. Tom is no longer interim. Is this true? No, he's still interim. He is still interim. SoCal says, thoughts on Ariel saying he would do power slap opposite Dana White? He needs to move on. Did he say that? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Chat is blinded by Jones hate and pain from Tyson. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I get that. Thoughts on Trump's cabinet picks? We're not doing this tonight, guys. We're not doing this tonight. We're just not. I appreciate the donation. We're not doing this tonight. Dave says, how far are we from being able to watch UFC pay-per-views with alternate commentary from... Well, remember, he did the commentary for the Evander Holyfield fight, right? Luke says, you're not taking crazy pills. The internet trolls are out in force today. Jones looked great. Okay, all right. I want to make sure I wasn't losing my mind. Michael says, John looked fantastic. He exceeded expectations. Yes. Michael says, I'm probably one of Jones's biggest haters, but he looked like he was toying with his food. I don't know why people think he looked bad. No one thinks he looked bad. They think he only looked good because Stipe was bad. There's something to that, but that's also not the full story either. Kevin says, the hang-up is great, in my opinion. He had very good ground and pound and displayed high fight IQ. Opponent lacking to label great for how he fought. Oh, yeah, fair enough. I don't know if you remember, but we met in Bogota before. Crazy lines in the bathroom we did. That night was unforgettable. Yeah, I don't know who the fuck you are. Phoenix says, this is your best bid ever, Luke. I guess I don't know what you're fucking talking about either. All these donations are upset that John won. Is that it? They're just bitter that he won? Y'all were making me like think I was losing my mind or something. Magic says, the disconnect is John should have been able to do more for how bad Stipe was fighting. That's why John looked bad, quote unquote. He should have walked to him and he didn't. He did pretty fucking great. I don't know how you could say John looked bad under any circumstance. You can say, oh, we can't say it was great because Stipe is not great. But how can you say John looked bad? I don't get that at all. COO says, people are doing too much. Stipe was ass, but Jones beat the absolute shit out of him. Only two dudes on earth that are a challenge for him. Facts. A Civic is greater than a Pinto, but Jones is not a Ferrari. We'll see where he is. The Aspinall is the only one who's going to tell us that. Trayvon, I hope I'm saying that right. Please forgive me. John saying options makes me think he won't fight Tom. Stipe didn't look too great, didn't show us much. You're not crazy. Who's next for Bo? Who is next for Bo? Let's look at the top 15. Anyone in the top 15? Michelle Pereira, Shara Magomedov, but he's fighting, he's going to fight MVP. Anthony Hernandez, I don't think he's ready for these guys. I think you give him somebody else outside the top 15. Roman Kopylov or something like that. He's not ready for a top 15 guy. Derek clearly scored round 2 for Stipe. Did he fucking really? Did he really? I hit plus 1,000 Charlie Olives by decision. Took all the edibles. Congratulations, my friend. I hope you got a nice big reward for that. Ryan G says, Stipe looked gassed from the glove touch. Possible staph on his chest. Again, maybe. John looking like the Pillsbury Doughboy. Easy dub for Tom. I'll just say, I can't wait to see the fight. Brandon says, John Jones haters, they forget he was also coming off an injury. Give credit to the GOAT. I did. You don't see me equivocating. I don't even want to say this fucking guy's name. I live in Albuquerque, praying our National Guard gets mobilized in preparation for John's celebration. I wish you good luck. Stoichiochemistry? Chemist? I'm not sure how you say that word. Non-applicable says, do you think there's any truth to John saying people don't give him his credit for his wins lately? And do you think people just like to hate on John? John definitely elicits a fair amount of criticism, but John also has been the beneficiary. Dude, John complaining about the way people hate him to me is a complete waste of fucking time. The guy has been, he has done fucked up shit for as long as I have been covering his career, and has gotten away from, he has avoided all of the worst consequences of his actions, and has had people cover for him or help him extract himself from the jaws of the terrible situations that he finds himself in time after time after time after time. He needs to accept, he'll never do this, but he needs to accept that people have every right to hate on him. Not so much because we award every version of irrationality, but because he has benefited so much in ways that someone else in his position who has fucked up as much as him would never have been half as lucky. He thanks Jesus Christ for all of the gifts that he gave him, and fine, that's an okay thing to do. But I think some thanks are in order for everyone else in his orbit and the UFC as well, who have literally and figuratively bailed him out time and time again. John looked great. His performance since Gus too. Yes, I agree with that. Good part. I got no time for JBJ, but I got plenty of time for dogs. From my pup, Judy, to yours, Barbas. All the best. Thank you, my friend. This gentleman says, deep half sweep by Tybura got my wiener tingly. I missed it. I apologize. Dave says, heavyweight as a division seems 20 years behind. It's a terrible division. That's what I mean. Dude, if John beats Aspinall, I don't give a shit. He can do whatever. I don't care. Fight whoever you want after that. I don't care anymore. Conley says, John is the best defensive fighter of all time. That's a little strong. Everyone's ignoring how versatile he is. Way more ways to win. I do agree he's got way more ways to win. Best defensive fighter? I don't know. Isaiah says, was it a mistake for Chandler to fight more calculated looking back? 38 at lightweight, balls to the wall. No, he just got outskilled, and he still made a strong account of himself in the end. I think he'll be all right. Jean says, you pronounced it quite well. It's Catalan for James. Oh, there you go. I agree with the Stipe looked bad more than Jones looked good crowd. Tom could do things to him, in my opinion. That's a fine take. We can all reasonably disagree. I think the only message I have is the video I put out on Wednesday or Thursday being like, knock the shit off that the fight with Pereira is better. You're out of your mind if you think that. Not you, sir, but the proverbial you out there. Connor says, who are the top 10 do you think Stipe can beat? I don't know. Let's look at the heavyweight division. Who is there? The top 10 would be Rosenstrike. Maybe you could beat him. Marcin Tybura, I don't know. Sergey Spivak, no. Jelton Almeida, maybe. Curtis Blades, no. Pavlovich, no. Yeah, not many. Not many. Tu Chang says, they say everyone gets one great president and one great heavyweight champion in their life. Who would you pick as yours? Jesus, dude, I've lived through some pretty fucking awful presidents. Kane was an amazing champion for as long as it lasted. Fedor was a great. I watched Fedor's prime. I got to see Fedor's prime. I can't complain. Oz says, dudes are delusional. I get he's old, but Stipe looked fine. He was never ultra athletic. He was ultra athletic. That's not true. John was on a different level. He absolutely shut down Stipe. That is true. Alex says, not a fan of the crossover boxing, but can't deny the numbers it brings in. Yeah, 60 million, not people, households. 60 million households for that fight. Brought in one of your most viewed videos. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Robert says, I'd rather watch my family die in a house fire than Paul versus Tyson. You sound like me. It was the fight equivalent of a gas station boner pill. Robert from Long Island. Valentino says, John finishes Kane late, similar to the second DC fight. I don't think so. I think that one goes longer. Brandon says, none targets John's legs. Thoughts on calf kicks? They don't want to get wrestled to the ground, and they don't want to. And Stipe's not a heavy leg kicker anyway. Stipe did look bad with the leg kicks. His leg kicks looked terrible. Non-applicable says, will the UFC still gawk Trump with a bad term? As long as it's useful, yes. Hands of Stone says, LMAO, John's whole career of avoidance of the Aspinall fight, and yet Dana actually expects us to believe that Francis was the one who didn't want the fight between them. Yeah, Francis was not the one. I was never the guy who everyone's like, oh, he ducked Francis. Guys, he got arrested twice during that time off. Like, he was clearly going through something. I'm not convinced that is true. You can make that argument if you want. I don't think it's very persuasive, but the shit he was trying earlier this week was very persuasive. He was trying to duck Aspinall, and then Dana came down and knocked that shit out. So I'm assuming Dana's going to hold to that. Raphael says, do you agree that Aspinall would have been able to follow Stipe's instructions tonight and more? Yes. Especially the continuation of blitzes and combinations. Yes, of course. John says, I would hope that if the same happened to Jones against Tom, people would give John the same out they are giving Stipe, i.e. old, etc., or whatever, call the excuses. Let's just see what the fight looks like at that time, and then we'll call it. We'll call it then, you know. No way Tom can survive first round elbows. I think Tom might be able to get up quicker, but could he survive those? Probably not. Gutierrez says, me and Luke used to do BJJ together. He was the only guy in the gym that would wear a thong. More cake than Tyson. I don't know who this fucking guy is, but I'll take your donation. Thank you. Tuchang says, Nemkov versus Bones. How do you see it? We've only seen one fight with Nemkov. I'll take Jones, but I don't know. I don't know. Alex says, for Tuki's Dino Sunday from Brewster's tomorrow. Thank you, my friend. Jesus Christ, best MMA coach of all time. They thank him. They thank him a lot. That's for sure. Fofo says, well, we can't learn much from this fight due to Stipe's age. I think Bones should be the slight favorite going to the Tom fight. I'm perfectly okay with that. Christoph says, I think Charles could have finished Chandler in the third round. It seemed like he made a choice because he had a very explosive, scrambly opponent to just hold control. And I agree that there was probably more offense available. Whether he could have finished him is a different argument, but could he have done more? Yes. Steve says, do you think there's a better fight to make on the roster than Jones Aspinall? Yeah. Shavkat. It's up there. It's up there. You could maybe argue Topuria versus Islam, but it's up there. It's definitely up there. I think Aspinall destroys John, but I see your opinion. Do you think Aspinall's wrestling is still sus? No, his wrestling's pretty good, actually. John fans love mentioning the Stewart Austin fight. Yeah, but that was a long time ago. It's not the same anymore. Han says, Rogan really needed to straight up ask John if he'll fight Tom. Crowd would have erupted, and John might have just said yes. I bet you he was told not to. They didn't do a face-off with Tommy either. Shetty says, John is probably a sociopath, not in the casual usage of the word, but in reality. Favorite feel-good moment of the last decade for John? The day he beat up Shogun, he stopped a robber in Newark. Like, that way, it made the news and everything. He ran down someone who stole from another person and tackled them to the ground and got their stuff, and then went and beat up Shogun later that day. Crazy. XV Sting says Trump is going to appoint John as the head of the. You guys are fucking brutal, man. Kalon says, you don't need to check out Stress Build's Character by Dystopia. Absolutely awful band. They sound like they are trying to be the worst band of all time. That person recommending them, no, just no. All right, duly noted. Conley says, not rocked or dropped as far as best defense, if not who? The best defensive fighter? I mean, John is a good defensive fighter. I'd have to think about that one. That's a good question. Islam, I know he already got head kicked, so it doesn't count. But the current version of him, the Poirier fight kind of challenges that. Up until the Poirier fight, I might have said Islam. His stats kind of speak to that, but he was head kicked, and there's been some other stuff. So maybe not him. I'd have to think about it. You're right that John is a good defensive fighter, best of all time. I'd have to think about that a little bit more. Love Jack Slack's new tweet. Going to have to invent brave new ways of cheating if we're ever going to see Chandler win 2 rounds against a good fighter. Wow, that's a hardcore one. Favorite rapper of the past decade? Vinny Paz. All right. We've had 3 days live chat. Paul Tyson, UFC 309, and I think we're finally ready to call it a close. Thank you to everybody who donated. Thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you to everybody who did anything nice for me this past week. Thank you to anybody who watched my videos, whether you liked it or not, whether you agreed with it, what I argued or not. Just, I really, really, really appreciate you guys. You make this so much better for me. You guys are the best. So thank you very much. I'm out of here. Reminder to everybody, Toiletries, LT15. Right now, they still have a Black Friday sale, so go check it out, and then you can add this on top of it. Go get it. If you got a brother, you got a dad, you got a son, whatever, depending how old you are, you got a friend, hook them up, and you can do it on the cheap now for super high quality stuff. Super high quality stuff. This is my favorite right here, the shearer, but they've got so many other things, right? Go get it. There's a link in the description box below, toiletries.com, LT15 for 15% off. With that out of the way, we'll do one more here. Who would have won Bones versus Rumble? Bones. John would have beat him. And then last but not least, Rodrigo or Rodrigo. I don't know how you pronounce it. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. I'm out of here. You guys are the best. Let's just hope John fights Tom. It seems like we're going to get it finally. And we can do the Pereira fight at some point later if he beats Aspinall. But maybe he won't. And that's the only thing that matters. Make the fight. Don't try and duck all that bullshit. I'm glad Dana said what he said. There is one fight to make. It is John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. And I hope everybody can finally see that now. Until next time, my friends, I appreciate you so much. And get some sleep. MK on Monday. Going to be a big one.